Lovely. That, ladies and gentlemen, I thought we were doing a TV open where you do the wide shot and I pretend to be reading something and then I go to the close. Should we try that again? Should we do that? Do you mind? OK. Right, take two. OK. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to Shop... It's used to when I used to work in real telly. Not shoppy telly. Shoppy telly is... They don't consider that real telly because it's... I don't know. But it is the hardest television that you can do. Honestly, I mean that. As a presenter, as a director, as a producer, as a floor manager... Well, maybe not floor manager, but... ladies and gentlemen... No, that's not true. Because our floor manager, Sam, is on TikTok right now. He's floor manager / influencer. Yeah. Yeah. He's influenced me, I can tell you. You should hear him read out the Mulberry Silk certificate. If he's brave enough, I might get him to do it later. It's absolutely fantastic. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Mulberry Silk. What's Mulberry Silk, I hear you cry? OK, just me then. Well, it is bedding, but it's bedding with a difference. Because if I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you could buy a duvet or a pillow, and that was the last duvet or pillow that you ever needed to buy for just one price, last time you ever need to buy another pillow, ever need to buy another duvet, that would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Mulberry Silk Duvet and the Mulberry Silk pillow could very well be the last duvet and the last pillow that you ever need to buy. These duvets, there are people out there who've had these for 20, 25, 30, even 35 plus years. And the guaranteed, the actual guarantee that comes with every duvet you buy now tonight is 10 years. So at least they're going to last you 10 years. I mean, it's not like after 10 years they're just going to go and disintegrate. Of course not. They're machine washable. You can put a duvet in a regular front-loading 7.5 kilo washing machine as often as you like. 30 degrees, cold wash, use your regular laundry detergent, whether it's powder, whether it's liquid, tablets, you know, you do you, babe. You can use fabric softener if you want, doesn't matter. You can also tumble dry them if you wish, or you can just line dry them if it's a nice warm day, so give that 6 months. And well, as I do, you can put them over the back of a clothes horse. They dry really, really quickly. And here's the thing. This is luxury bedding. There are two ingredients, if you want to call it that, in a duvet. There is mulberry silk inside, 100% long fibre, full-length, AAA grade mulberry silk, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. And there's even a little vanity window that serves no purpose except for you to be able to verify that inside your duvet is exactly what I just told you is in your duvet. They're 100% breathable. Now, I'm going to get into all of this. The machine washable I've covered. This is just kind of a little recap, but I'm going... this is an important bit. Regulates temperature. These duvets will keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer because they are silk. And again, I'm going to get into all of this. And if you have any questions at all about anything I'm saying, I've got my trusty iPad. All you have to do is drop me an email, studio@shopontv.co.uk. That will go through to the producer, who will then broadcast your message to me here on the studio floor. Now, also tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching on Freeview, as soon as the penny drops, or if you've already heard about Mulberry Silk, seen me present it before, you know what it's all about, and you're like, oh, yeah, I've been meaning to get that. Now's the time to get it, because, dun, 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 free P&P. Free postage and packing in honour of Black Friday week, or week and a half, actually. Everything on the show tonight is free postage and packing. But the reason why it's so important with a Mulberry Silk duvet or pillowcase or mattress for that matter is even the mattress free postage and packing. You're going to get a mattress sent to you for well, you have to pay for the mattress, but the free postage is normally a tenner. And by the way, there's a 60-night sleep trial. We'll get to that. And that's also got Mulberry Silk crammed in it. So, by the way, all of the bedding, all the items of bedding that contain the silk also are covered by this, the Allergy UK seal of approval that the Mulberry Silk products are effective against live dust mites. So this is known as the duvet in which dust mites do not like to live. Same with the pillow, same with the mattress as well. It's too dry an environment for them. Silk it's like the equivalent is us living in the Sahara Desert. You know, people might wander in for the day, but they don't stay because it's just not habitable. And that's the same with dust mites. And the thing is that in 3 years, they reckon that about half the weight of a duvet or a pillow is actually dust mites, their droppings, and the carcasses of their dead relatives. Now, dust mites are harmless to us, but their droppings are an irritant and they can cause allergies. So if you are an allergy sufferer or you know an allergy sufferer, because you're not having that or that problem just is non-existent with the Mulberry Silk products, they are really, really good for allergy sufferers. But let me, if I may, kind of break down everything. First of all, we have the duvets available. I'll start with the duvets, then I'll do the pillows, and then we'll get to the pillowcases. So the duvets are in standard UK sizes. So you have a single, you have a double, a king size, and a super king. Now, the prices, the usual prices, I don't think we've ever done them for that, actually, because the prices that we have on the screen now, our price here, today, tonight, this evening, this morning, whatever you want to call it, are the lowest they have been in 22 years. So £139 for a single. Our double is 179, the king is 199, and the super king is 219. And it says plus delivery of 495, but you can ignore that tonight because it's free P&P. But it works out at £4 for a single per day. No, sorry, per year. A double is £5. A king is £6 and £7 a year for a super king, even if that's just for the cover of the 10-year guarantee. So if they stop working and just vanished after, disintegrated after 10 years, which of course they won't, it's costing you literally fractions of a penny a day for top quality luxury bedding. But the thing is that it's not just luxury in the way it looks. You know, a lot of the time, like when you go to fancy hotels and things like that, you sort of, the bedding looks great and it's fluffy and poofy and, you know, you get in it and it's kind of, ooh, you know, but it's still essentially one of two things. It's either hollow fibre, so it's artificial or synthetic fibres. Those are bad. I'll tell you one in a minute. Or it's some form of feather. So there are different grades of feather. You've got big coarse feathers and then all the way down to down. All the way down to down, that's a good one. Down, tiny little itty bitty feathers. So soft, certainly very soft. But the problem with those two things is, well, there are numerous problems. Number one, they trap heat. They do not regulate temperature, they trap heat. So you get under one of those duvets and your body heat starts to, you know, warm up everything inside. And for a while you go, ah, that's lovely. And then you get to a point where the heat's got nowhere to go. And so you just keep getting hotter because our bodies are like a furnace, you know, we're putting out heat constantly. So it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and eventually it becomes too hot. You start sweating and what do? You take the duvet off. And then if it's like it is at the moment, winter, and maybe the heating's gone off, it's the middle of the night, you know, you haven't got it going all the way, blasting all the way through the night. And so you get cold very quickly, you get cold. So what do? You pull the duvet back on. And then that process just repeats itself over and over and over again. But the problem is that doesn't sound like an issue particularly, except that every time you wake up because you're too hot, and then subsequently every time you wake up because you're too cold, it's done exactly what I just said. It's woken you up. So that is when you get what is called toxic sleep. You have to sleep in cycles. As humans, we sleep in cycles. There are several layers of sleep through which you have to pass. And each sort of layer, each stage lasts for a particular period of time and has a particular function. And in combination, it's all about getting that deep, restorative, recuperative, regenerative, healing night's sleep that we need as human beings. And that's roughly, all of those stages take about 90 minutes, and then you start again, and you just keep going round. That's why they always say, if you can only sleep for a short period of time, try and do it in multiples of 90 minutes for that very reason. But if you get toxic sleep, let's say you get into the third stage, theta, or it's got fancy names. You can look it up if you're that interested. And you wake up. You can't then go back to sleep and start where you left off or carry on where you left off. You've got to go back to the beginning. So that's when you end up in a situation, which I'm sure you've experienced, where you've maybe been in bed for 8-9 hours and you think you've slept for 8-9 hours. You may even have had dreams and you think, oh, I've had deep sleep because I've been dreaming. No, actually, dreams happen right at that very top layer just before you wake up, believe it or not. So, and you still feel tired. And you're like, why do I still feel tired? I've been sleeping for hours. But you haven't. And that's probably because of your bedding, but also environmental factors, which we'll talk about in a moment. So here's the thing. What does that do to you when you don't sleep well? Well, first of all, number one, we make excuses for it, don't we? Which is kind of weird. But we do. We say, oh, I slept funny. Well, no, you didn't. Actually, it's not you. You're not the problem. It's probably what you're sleeping on and under that is most of the problem. And I'm sorry to say this, and I hate to be the sort of the bearer of doom and gloom, but if you have a duvet and pillow or pillow, which contains hollow fibre, any kind of synthetic fibre, or any kind of feather, you haven't had a proper night's sleep. You haven't. I guarantee you haven't. Unless you're some kind of human anomaly, you will have woken up during the night. And if you're really honest with yourself, you'll know that's true, right? So here is how mulberry silk is different. First of all, it contains silk. But it's not just any old silk. If you were the king of Persia, or the Sultan of Brunei, or, I don't know, if you're Elon Musk, or someone with billions and billions and billions and billions of pounds, dollars, yen, Deutschmarks, doesn't matter when you've got that much money, right? And you said, I want the finest silk in all the land, it would be AAA grade mulberry silk. It originates from China. That's where most of the world's silk comes from. And you cannot get better. So the reason it's graded AAA grade, or the reason it is AAA grade, is as follows. So silkworms in China are fed exclusively on mulberry leaves. Now, there are white mulberry leaves, there are brown mulberry leaves, and there are, I'm blanking here. Does anyone remember? Is it black? Black, red and white. It is black. Sorry, I had a bit of a brain fart there. Now, if you feed the worm on black or red mulberry leaves, you get very, very high quality silk. If you feed them on white mulberry leaves, you get the highest quality silk that is known to man or to humankind. And that is what is in here. But you've got to be careful because you can go and Google mulberry silk, even AAA grade mulberry silk. In fact, there are some jokers out there that are even saying there's quadruple grade, but that, as far as we know, that doesn't really exist. It's just a marketing thing, a gimmick. But there are rules, unfortunately, in our land that allow you to say that something is something, even if it isn't really that thing. So, for example, you can buy a mulberry silk duvet, marketed as a mulberry silk duvet, but actually, it turns out there's only a small percentage of mulberry silk in it, and the rest is who knows what. Often it's cotton that's polished to look like silk. These duvets are filled with 100% mulberry silk. And also what you find with inferior quality duvets, or duvets trying to pass themselves off as the real thing, is instead of it being full-length fibres, it is offcuts, little itty bits and bobs. It's cheaper, right? These, so when you have a cocoon, I don't know if I've got a cocoon. Oh, I have. Oh, look. So this, it's all right, this is a cocoon. We can just, you see this? I did promise our camera operator he wouldn't have to jump up and zoom in on anything, so sorry, that's my bad. Sorry, James. I would have happily taken a wider shot. This is an actual cocoon from a silkworm, right? So this is designed to protect the worm inside. And actually, even though it looks flimsy, I can't easily squish that. Silk is actually the second strongest natural substance by tensile strength, or inferior only to spider's web, actually. So this, when these are put in water, they're put in tepid water, and they unravel completely. And one of those cocoons is about 1 to 2 miles long. Each individual fibre is 1 to 2 miles long. There are thousands of these. In fact, there are about a dozen or so, I believe, that are woven or wound together to make an individual fibre, just one of the individual fibres that's in each of these duvets. So there are probably 4,000 or 5,000 of these in like a king-size duvet. There are many of them anyway, and completely unbroken, full length. And what they do is they take these fibres and they stitch them to the top of the duvet, and they kind of they arrange them, and then this box cassette stitching holds them in place. So they never clump, they never crumple, they never move. They stay exactly where they are. But what they do is, much like the worm, they cocoon you while you're sleeping. And here's what's special about silk, because if you think about it, in China, where these worms live, where they're indigenous, they have to deal with, when they cocoon themselves to become eventually a moth, and they're going through that metamorphosis, there is a huge variance in temperature. So it can be really, really scorching hot by day, it can be freezing cold at night, there could be torrential rains, you know, sort of, what are those really hard rain, monsoons, that kind of thing. Or it can be very, very dry. There are predators that are all knocking at the cocoons trying to get the things out for dinner, right? So they are designed to be incredibly hardy. But also, if it's hot outside and cold at night, the worm can't deal with that temperature variation inside. It needs to stay be maintained at a specific temperature. Not too hot, not too cold, or it would die. And that's one of the wonderful, magical things that silk does. It regulates temperature. So, and it regulates temperature on a bespoke basis, a per-person basis. So if, let's say, for example, you got yourself a Super King duvet, and or a king size, or whatever it may be, there's somebody lying next to you, and maybe you like to think, or you know, that you run a little bit cold. You generally, you know, you're quite cold. But the person lying next to you is quite hot. You could both lay under the same duvet, and it will regulate to your temperature. So each of you will reach the perfect temperature, and then the rest of the heat is dissipated naturally. You will always be at just the right temperature. So, as I said, it keeps you warm in the winter and it keeps you cool in the summer. That's the other thing, even if it's extremely hot. If you think about some of the hottest countries in the world, people often wear silk. Like, you know, I think of India, for example, the sari made of silk, because it helps to cool you down in the hot temperatures as well. So you win in both counts here. This means that even though the duvet is not very thick, and people always, the first thing they say when they touch one of these duvets is they say, well, it's not very thick, is it? What TOG rating is it? Well, silk, being a natural fibre, doesn't actually have a TOG rating. That's for artificial fibres. But also, the thickness is irrelevant. This is able to keep you warm. And I was going to say, even in the coldest temperatures, like, you know, it got down to, what, -3 the other night. I did not have the heating on in my room in our crew house. What I did is I had my Mulberry Silk Duvet on me, and believe me, I was absolutely toasty. But not too toasty, not to the point where I had to take the duvet off. In fact, I joked the other night when I was here with Ray from Mulberry Silk, and said that I like to do funny things with my under my duvet, because it fascinates me how this works. It's sort of an enigma. And I got to the point where I was the perfect temperature, and it was -3 outside, and I thought, I wonder how cold it is in the room, because I couldn't tell, because I was wrapped in the duvet. And I pulled it off one leg, and within seconds, it was blooming freezing. I'm like, crikey, it's really cold in this room. Straight back on again. So they really do work. Now, also, it means that even a Super King size duvet, because they don't have to be thick. It's the quality of the materials that keeps you warm. You can put, this is actually a king size. We've got it over a double bed. By the way, you can go up a size and you get that, what they call that hotel drape. This will go in literally a regular front-loading 7.5 kilo washing machine. But also, if you fold it up, it will also fit on one side of a carry-on suitcase. And the pillows, which we're going to get to later, one of those will fit in the other side. So you can actually, if you want to, take your bedding with you. Because the thing is, once you've slept under Mulberry Silk, you will never sleep under anything else again. You just won't. I would rather I'll schlep my bedding around with me rather than go back to any kind of, especially when I'm travelling, and I travel quite a lot for work. If I'm under a synthetic, hollow fibre duvet, which a lot of the hotels have, it's just, it reminds you how good these are. It really does. They are such great value for money. They will last you years and years and years. And as I say, you can machine wash them whenever you like. That's how good they are. Now, by the way, on the outside of the duvet, because there are only two, I always call them ingredients, but you've got the silk on the inside, the AAA grade Mulberry silk, but on the outside, you have Egyptian cotton, long fibre Egyptian cotton, 230 thread count. Now, what's the difference between long fibre and short fibre? Short fibre cotton has been picked by machine, so it tends to break it, and it tends to be more brittle, and just generally not as good. So when you've got the long fibre, that's hand-picked cotton, so the fibres are longer and unbroken, they tend to be more malleable, and they just have a higher quality in general, and they're softer in general as well. So anything above 200 is considered luxury. So you've got luxury Egyptian cotton on the outside, and you've got AAA grade Mulberry silk on the inside. Now, the other thing that these do, well, I'm not even done yet, and this is not just because I've got to fill for an hour and a half before ITV come along. This is, which I do, but I won't run out of things to say about these duvets. Also, they wick away 60% of their weight. Sorry, not 60%, 30% of their weight in moisture. Now, what does that mean? That means if you sweat at night, which you do, we all sweat. We can sweat a pint or more of liquid every night we're in bed. Instead of it surrounding you, sometimes when you wake up feeling clammy, particularly on pillows, when you wake up and you've got a moist head and a hot moist head, and then you kind of have to turn the pillow around, that you won't have to do that with these pillows. So this wicks away your sweat, so you always feel dry as well. And also, because of the nature of the silk, and this is the issue, when you sweat into hollow fibre or feather, you take moisture and you take heat, and what have you got a recipe for? Bacteria. That is it's like holiday for bacteria. It's like Club Med for all the different types of bacteria, and they're all sitting around the pool, putting their feet up, wearing their onesies and drinking Mai Tais. They have gone to town in your duvet and your pillow if you've got those synthetic or feather products that are the filling. And so that means a number of things. First of all, it degrades the hollow fibre, so the hollow fibre starts to collapse and get clump and get hard and nasty. And the feather, unless you pay a lot of money to have a feather duvet dry cleaned, and it is a lot of money to get them dry cleaned, that just builds up and up and up, that bacteria. And not only is it a breeding ground for bacteria, like a petri dish for bacteria, but also it's holiday central for dust mites as well, because they come in and they set up home, and you could have, even in a brand new duvet, almost immediately when you start using it and it's been taken out of the packaging and you've slept under it for a few nights, you will start to build up an infestation of dust mites. And there can be millions of dust mites inside your duvet. Now, again, they're harmless to us. They're actually from the arachnid family. They're little spiders. But they're around us. It doesn't matter. We breathe them in, and they generally do not have any effect on us at all. But it is their droppings, their poo-poo, that, when inhaled, can irritate the lungs and can cause allergies. But also increases weight. Like I said, if you took a pillow or a duvet, after 3 years, as much as half the weight is dust mites, dust mite droppings, and the carcasses of their dead relatives, because they don't cremate them. And, they don't bury them. They just stay there, They just all live together in one big happy cesspool. That is your duvet or your pillow. In fact, if you've got a pillow that is even 3 or 6 months old, and it's hollow fibre or it's feather, do yourself a favour. So I've got a pillow here. This is a Mulberry Silk pillow. But if you hold it like that, now you see how that is completely horizontal, right? If you hold it like that and it sags on the side, the weight that is causing it to sag on the side Yep, she does mites, and the droppings and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, because it's a lot of the weight is now made up not of the actual fabric of the pillow, but the other inhabitants. This pillow, by the way, you know, I've always said that Mulberry Silk is so phenomenal. It is the best duvet money can buy, in my opinion. There is literally nothing better than this that I've ever found. In my experience and in my personal opinion, that's my testimony. But here's the thing. Did I even mention this yet? If I didn't, I'm sorry. Unconditional money-back guarantee. Did I mention that? No. Sorry, should have said that sooner. Now, that's not even from Shop on TV. We have a refund policy at Shop on TV. But Mulberry Silk, the actual RK Sales, who distribute these exclusively in the UK, and all of their information, by the way, I say all of their information, their website, etc., is on the tag of every single product, right? I'll look at the right camera, shall I? And what that means is that they offer every single person who buys one of their products an unconditional money-back guarantee. So, you know, a 30-day money... I mean, they don't even really specifically say how long, but, you know, as a guide, 30 days. But if it was 31 days, 40 days, 55 days, if at any point you are unhappy with the quality of your duvet or your pillow or your mattress or your pillowcase, you get in touch with them directly, and they, as Ray, the owner of the company, says, we will give you your money back with the same civility that we took it from you. He's Scottish, from Glasgow. And he knows I do that impression of him, and he likes it. So if you're watching, Ray. Or at least he said he liked it. He didn't thump me, so I guess it's OK. But the point is, that we've said that on every single Mulberry Silk show we've ever done. And that's always a really big reason for you to try a Mulberry Silk product. But there's no better time, and this is the first time ever in the history of any Mulberry Silk show I've ever done in at least the last 7 or 8 years that we've had free postage and packing. So tonight, the risk was already 99% non-existent. Tonight, it's 100% non-existent. You can try a pillow, a duvet, a mattress, a pillowcase, whatever you like. And if you're not happy, you will get all of your money back because you're not paying any postage and packing. So normally you at least have to sort of, you take a punt with the P&P of £4.95. Tonight, that's completely irrelevant. You can try these, and that's why all these things, these claims that I'm making, the fact that I know them to be true is one thing, but you don't know that I know them to be true, and because I'm on telly and you're sitting at home or wherever it is that you're watching from, and you're thinking, yeah, come on, Rob, pull the other one. How can a pillow and a duvet be that good? Well, they can, and they are, but that's why I always say don't take my word for it just because I'm telling you the truth. Don't believe me just because I'm honest and genuinely want you to have a much better night's sleep. Now you can prove me wrong if you wish without spending a penny. Yeah, sure, for the pillow, all right, you pay £40 up front. But if after a day, a week, a month, you are, you know what, I don't agree with that, Rob. I don't think this is the best pillow I've ever slept on. You just literally get in touch with RK Sales, the distributor of the Mulberry Silk products, and made by, incidentally, the official Mulberry Silk Manufacturing Company, which is a Canadian-based company, and they will give you your money back. The duvet, you've got a 10-year guarantee. Oh, and by the way, the pillow comes with a standard 2-year guarantee. Honestly, I've got my iPad here. If there is anyone in the nation watching right now that has ever seen a money-back guarantee on a pillow, or a duvet for that matter, do let me know, because they're not allowed to take them back. Once you buy a pillow and you've opened it, you cannot return it. Same with the duvet. It is against the rules. They can't even, or you can't even, if you return them, the company can't even give them to, to shelters or charities because they've been used. It's against the rules. So they either recommend that people use them, or that they are used for pet bedding or something along those lines. There's nothing they can do with them. And this is the thing, this is where the Mulberry Silk company are putting their money where their mouths are, because if you return a pillow, they have to destroy it. It doesn't get sort of dusted off and then sent out to another customer. So that would be a huge risk for them if they had lots of returns. With the Mulberry Silk pillow, when they first created it, this is a few years ago, by popular demand, because people had the duvet and they said, well, can you make a pillow as well? So they did lots of research. And by the way, the scientists behind the creation of these products, I mean, they are absolute bedding experts. I mean, they're complete bedding, geniuses, really. And the company that makes these products is just renowned for the quality of everything they produce. So in the first year that the pillow went on sale, 86,000 people bought pillows. Now, they reckon that if, in the UK, if at any time everyone was suddenly given a blanket money-back guarantee on their pillows, which they're not, you can't return a pillow, but if you were, that as much as 60% or more would return their pillows instantly. Because there are millions and millions of pillows every year that go into landfill. Because you buy, I bet you've done it, you buy a pillow or a pack of 4 or a pack of 2 or something like that for 10, 15, 20 quid. And you sleep on them and you go, well, these are rubbish, and you throw them away almost immediately. Or you suffer with them for a while and then you throw them away. And they go in landfill, right? So not great for the environment either. But 60% of people, and I'm sure if you think about your pillows now, if you had a chance to return them this second or tomorrow, would you? I bet a lot of you are saying yes. Because most pillows are blooming awful. When this pillow was released in the first year and 86,000 people bought one, they did have some returns. 15. Not percent. 15 individual pillows out of 86,000. That's a return rate of something like 0.0006, I think. I mean, it's unheard of. People who buy Mulberry Silk pillows are, in my experience, and if you look at the numbers, they are, for the first time, happy with, and possibly the first and only time in their entire lives, happy with their pillow. Now, also, you'll notice it has great loft to it. These pillows actually have a fibre core. The only part of the pillow that is not natural fibre is the very centre. It's got a fibre core. That is purely so that it maintains its loft. So it doesn't matter how you sleep on it, it doesn't matter how many times you bend it, shake it, any way you want it, it's always going to come back. So I can do anything I like with this. I can tie it up in knots and what have you. It will always come back to its natural position. Now, one pillow, as you can see, they're quite thick. If you're someone that normally sleeps on 2 hollow fibre or regular pillows, this is probably enough for you. 2, one on top of the other, might be too much. Some people who like a really, really, lofty experience, maybe 2. But for the majority of people, these are medium firm. These are also machine washable. Now, you can get 2 of these in a front-loading washing machine, but they're kind of smushed together. I personally do them one at a time. But again, 30-degree wash, a regular detergent, powder, gel, liquid, tablets, whatever you like, capsules, I don't know, all those different things that are available. And if you want to use fabric softener, you can. That's it. And you can also tumble dry them as well if you wish. Again, tumble dry on low. I personally put them on top of a clothes horse and I'll dry it. One side takes about 45 minutes to dry in temperate conditions, and then I just turn it over and the other side dries in about an hour to an hour and a half, and they're completely dry and ready to sleep on again. By the way, standard size pillowcases, standard size duvet covers if you want to put covers on the duvets. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very, very important. If you're going to put a duvet cover on the duvet or a pillowcase on the pillow, it must be natural fibre. I mean, silk or cotton really are your choices. Wool is arguable. I'm not going to get into that tonight. And the reason is, the way I always describe it is, if you put a chicken breast onto a non-stick pan, it wouldn't stick, would it? Because it's touching the non-stick. But if you put a cast iron plate over the non-stick and put the chicken breast on top of that, it would stick, because it's not touching the non-stick. The cast iron plate is blocking the benefits of the non-stick coating beneath, right? So if you go and put a polyester cover on either the pillow or the duvet, you are blocking the natural temperature regulation, the moisture wicking, and all of the other benefits of the silk inside. So that's why if you put silk on top, you can, or Egyptian cotton. And I always say with the duvet covers, I mean, I bought from Amazon, but Dunelm do them, I think Dreams do them. You can get hold of Egyptian cotton, and it sounds fancy, and it kind of is. But I got 300 thread count from Amazon. The fitted sheet was about 15 quid, and the duvet set for a king-size duvet with 2 cases was about 25, something like that. Not hugely expensive. You can get cheaper, and you just can go regular cotton if you want, but if you want that really nice smooth cotton, Egyptian cotton's not as expensive as a lot of people think. So you can shop around and do your own research on that. But it's got to be cotton, or actually, for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we just so happen to also have the Mulberry Silk pillowcase. Now, this pillowcase is 100% pure mulberry silk. And to quote the letter that Rachel wrote for Ross in Friends, front and back. You have to be a Friends fan to understand that. This is the green option that we have for you, or sage, we've called it sage. We also have white available, although I think we've only got 1 or 2 of those because they sold out last time and they must have... Oh, no, we've got some more back in stock on the white. So no, sage, we've got good stocks tonight. Okay, so on the last show, if you were watching the last show, I was asking Ray if when more stock, because we almost sold out of everything the other night, or last week, if anything else was coming out. And apparently I spoke to his son Martin after the show, and they were unloading a new container the next day. So there is a show Tuesday night, I think, into Wednesday, with Charlie. Charlie will be here because Sean and Haley are on holiday. And with Ray. Ray will be back, and they do have new stock, so everything should be restocked. And they've also got free postage and packing as well. So that will be a stonking show. So tonight... Get these tonight while you can, because who knows what kind of chaos it will be next week trying to get hold of those products with free postage and packing. So that's the sage. The Arctic is that beautiful... Sorry, I always say Arctic. It's not Arctic. That's a lorry, Rob. Arctic. No, Arctic is the lorry. Articulated lorry. Arctic conditions. Sorry, I had it right the first time. I'm double guessing myself. That's that beautiful sky blue, slightly deeper than a sky blue actually. And the white, that's the one that's well, it's white. Yeah. And again, look. This, I'm not doing a magic trick, I promise. Look, in my hands, nothing in my hands, but this is silk, literally 100% pure. AAA grade mulberry silk, both sides. You can pay a lot more than £35, in my experience, for silk that is, it's not necessarily AAA grade mulberry silk, which is the finest silk money can buy. There ain't no better. But also, it's often just one-sided these days. I have a little story. Do you remember Swanvesta matches? Somebody once wrote to Swanvesta years and years and years ago and said, I can save you millions of pounds, or I can increase your profits many times over. And I think they were asking for like £1 million or something in return. And Swanvesta were like, not interested, no, rubbish. So eventually this guy persisted and they took the meeting. Whether this is true or not, this story, I don't know. I believe it is. And they agreed, in principle, that if this guy's suggestion could save them or increase their profits, that they would pay him £1 million kind of thing. So they took the meeting and he said, OK, you ready? Here's the big idea. You ready? Take the strike off one side of the box. And they did. So instead of all that cost that went into having strike on both sides of the box, they just had it, and true story. That Swanvestas, if they still make them, only have strike on one side of the box. So the point I'm trying to make is that to save money, a lot of people, well, they only sleep on one side, why do we need silk on the other? No, this, for £35 down from £45, you are getting silk on both sides. Now, there's also something else rather special about this. Inside, you may be able to, I don't know if you can even see it, but this, it's a slightly duller texture. Right? Now, that is because it has been sprayed in a very clever and very difficult process, intricate sort of technical process. It's sprayed with a layer of cotton. And the reason for that is because, as the saying goes, smooth as silk, right? First of all, it's very, very slippery and your pillow could pop out. But also, if you haven't got the pillowcase held in place on the pillow, then it would start to bunch up and you can get wrinkles, you know, creases in your face because the silk has creased, right? And then you're sleeping on it. So the layer of cotton, which is coarser inside, keeps the pillowcase on the pillow perfectly. By the way, you can steam iron these, and this is when they come obviously packed, they will have creases in them, but they drop out very, very well, particularly if you've got one of our Pulte steam generator irons. So they are so beautiful. Again, they are very easy to wash, machine washable, all of the same washing instructions. But also, a lot of people will know that silk has some pretty special benefits. Now, please do your own research. We haven't tested these pillowcases to be able to make any claims about what they can or can't do. But they are 100% silk, so if there is scientific evidence out there for what silk can do, I mean, as Ricky Gervais would say, right, put the two together. But a lot of people, for hair, to help sort of avoid, I believe, frizz, and also to help keep moisture in your hair, people will often wear silk wraps, right? I know this is particularly prevalent in the Afro-Caribbean community as well. But also, you know, their legend has it that silk helps to reduce wrinkles. And that's because it has in it an amino acid. There are various amino acids actually in silk because it's a natural product. But one of them is called sericin. So if you look up sericin, that's one of the sort of components of silk that is said to be very kind to the skin and help to keep moisture within the skin and not draw moisture from the skin, which other fabrics can do. Again, if you do your own research, you'll find there are all kinds of wonderful properties that silk has. Again, we haven't tested these specific pillowcases to do all of those things, so I'm not making any kind of claims at all with regard to the pillowcase and you know, their magical properties. But there is lots and lots of research about silk out there, and again, this is 100% pure silk, except for the coating inside of cotton. So, you know, put the two together, right? So that's your pillowcase. They are so luxurious. They are wonderful. They wash beautifully. And, of course, they are the perfect accompaniment to the pillow, which is proving incredibly popular. Very, very busy on the pillow. I always say, if you're not sure about the duvet, because people go, well, yeah, but the duvet's quite expensive, isn't it? Well, no, not really. You know, I believe there's a statistic that the average household will get through 30 pillows in a lifetime. Well, I think it's probably even more than that. So if you add up what you've spent on buying something, not enjoying the experience of using it, and then throwing it away and then buying something else, and often you buy cheap, and as they say, you buy cheap, you pay twice, right? So the next time, maybe you spend a little bit more. I spent £60, a true story, right? And Kieran, our director, will back this up, even though you can't see or hear him. But I assure you, he will know that I am, he's just said probably for the best. But he will back that we went to a very famous bedding company when we first moved to our crew house because we didn't have Mulberry Silk. We now all have Mulberry Silk pillows and duvets in the crew house. I have 2 sets at home as well. I have it, my son has it, duvet, pillow, mattress, the works. So we had to go, and all they had were synthetic hollow fibre pillows and duvets. So, but we did buy the slightly more premium pillows, and they were, what were they, 50 or 60 quid each, weren't they, Kieran? 60 quid each. 60 quid each. And they had, they were quite good in that they had a bit more firmness to them than you expect with a hollow fibre. But they were blooming awful. They were the same problem. They got hot. They were awful. I didn't tell our CEO this. And the duvet, by the way, which I think they were about 40 or 50 quid each as well, hollow fibre, not, as Kieran just said, nasty. I slept next to mine, not on it or under it, because it was so hot. Literally, my body heat would bounce off the side of this thing. And as soon as I covered myself in it, I was like, crikey, how did I ever sleep under these? And so I threw mine away. as soon as the Mulberry Silk arrived next week, we'd ordered it and it came. In fact, Ray was very kind and brought everybody's bedding down with him when we did our first show together. And I just bought all these new for everybody. We all threw them away. Except Sam, I think, for some reason. Sam kept his. But he always was a bit of an odd duck, Sam. So. But no, he sleeps on top of his duvet. So maybe if you're sleeping on top, it's okay. Never sleeps under it. You're going to have to take that up with him. He's on TikTok right now. Shop on Sam. Ask him what's with the duvet, Sam. So, yeah, please do check out. So you've got your duvet, your pillow, and free P&P. Now, there's a lot to tell in this story, isn't there? It is a long and winding story of wonderful bedding excellence. And I tell you what, if you just want to sleep better, because if you've got, and I do mean this, and honestly, I will argue this to the day they put me in a box. If you have a hollow fibre duvet or pillow, or if it's a feather, any kind of feather, no matter how luxurious, because you can pay hundreds of pounds for a feather duvet, hundreds of pounds, and pillows for that matter. If you've got either of those two fillings in your duvet, I can assure you, I will bet you all the money I've got that you've not slept as well as you can. And actually, and this is the thing, you don't know what you don't know, do you? I don't know all the things I don't know, do you? Of course not. It's impossible to know what you don't know, by very definition. So if you've never tried an alternative like silk, which is known to be the king of silk and the king of bedding, really, until you've tried it, you have no basis of comparison. And up until now, you had no choice but to at least pay out a £5 for an order for the delivery. But now you don't. It's free. You can now put it to the test. You can now do comparison shopping, because you'll get every penny of your money back from RK Sales, the exclusive distributor of Mulberry Silk products in this country. Their website and contact information. I haven't got my glasses, and I think even their address is on there. Yeah, anyway, so they're right on every tag. So, and they ain't going anywhere. They've been in business 67 years. And they are, as far as we know, the only bedding company to have the Allergy UK seal of approval for effectiveness against live dust mites. So it's the only hypoallergenic, in the sense of dust mites, duvet and pillow that is certificated by that very prestigious organisation. And those certificates, by the way, are awarded every year. They're annual, and they can be taken away at any time. They can, the RK Sales and their operation of Mulberry Silk can be investigated or they can be checked upon at any time. And if the standards are not kept high, that will be revoked. But also, here's the other thing. This is a seasonal product. This is why sometimes we go occasionally a month or two or even 3 without any of this bedding, because the silkworm, their life cycle, that's a sort of a seasonal thing in a sense. It's not, it's not regular. It's not like silkworms are being spat out every single day. And also mulberry leaves, they're leaves on trees, these things are seasonal too. So to have the combination of enough supply of the leaves, that has to be the white mulberry leaf to get the AAA grade, and also the life cycle of the worms, and to be able to put those two things together, because they feed them for about 40 days exclusively on the white mulberry silk leaves. That means that the supply of AAA grade silk is not always there. There are downtimes. Now, whereas other companies, less, what's the word I'm looking at? Companies with less integrity would just use whatever they got left, offcuts, bits and bobs. But no, if there is an insufficient supply of AAA grade mulberry silk, the Mulberry Silk Company will stop manufacturing until that supply is available again. So they're not always possible to get hold of. And that also ensures that you always get the highest quality, you always get AAA grade, top quality, full length, unbroken lines of, or fibres, threads, of mulberry silk in every single duvet and every single pillow, guaranteed every single time. Same with the mattress as well. That is one of the duvets. Those are the fibres or the threads There are thousands of cocoons in each of the duvets. In a king-size duvet, there's about 12 miles of silk. And you can see how they literally they'll take the cocoon, and you don't have to come close on this, but each cocoon, again, there are thousands of these, but they're all unwound. But you can see how, if I just pull at it, you can see probably just how fine those are. But when they're soaked, they all come off. Oh, hang on. They all, white against white, not so easy to see. Because they're very fine, so once they all come off in one full length, they're bunched together and wound into thread, and then those threads are what are put into the duvets. So unfortunately, my memory is not serving correctly. I don't think. I think, did Ray say there were 6,000 or 7,000 of these in each duvet? It depends on the size of the duvet, of course, as well. There are thousands. There are thousands of them. Many, many lots. And in the pillow, there are, I believe, about 3,000. So, and again, literally wrapped, wound around a fibre core. And the fibre core is purely there to provide loft and stability. And of course, because the fibre core is in the centre and it's wrapped by silk, it doesn't matter that it's fibre. That's the only non-natural bit of a pillow. But it doesn't matter because it's surrounded by the silk on the outside, and that's the bit, and then the Egyptian cotton, and that's the bit that touches your skin. So they are brilliant. They are, honestly, you sleep so much better. I even today, I do this almost every day, you know, because I really don't get out much. I was lying in bed and I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I've got mulberry silk tonight. And I was like, oh, of course, I'm wrapped up in mulberry silk. And I was laying in the position that I'd slept in all night, and the duvet hadn't moved. It had been wrapped around me all night long. Never got too hot. The heating came on in the night. Did I get too hot? No. Then the heating went off. Did I get too cold? No. That duvet stayed where it was, because if it got too hot in the room, it didn't matter, because my temperature was being regulated by the duvet. When it got too cold, did it matter? No, because my body temperature, or my body was being regulated, the temperature of my body, by the duvet. So I had a consistent temperature inside the duvet, no matter how much the temperature varied on the outside. And that's the beauty of silk. And I was dry. I wasn't clammy, because again, any sweat is being wicked away by the silk as well. Just brilliant. But also, I have the benefit, because I'm a bit of a purist, and I'm such an advocate of mulberry silk. I don't get any commission for sitting here doing this. I get paid to come and present the show, but that's it. But I know sometimes my enthusiasm is quite effervescent. And that's because they're the best bedding that money can buy, in my opinion. And I genuinely want everybody in the UK to have the best night's sleep they possibly can. I think if people slept better, and we weren't so grumpy, maybe the world would be a better place. But so I genuinely do have your interests at heart when I recommend these items, these products to you, because I do know what you don't know, what many of you don't know. And I do know that there is a better option out there for you. And not just because we're trying to flog pillows and duvets. It's nothing to do with it at all. You know, yes, of course, you know, we are a for-profit company, or as a broadcast, but it's about integrity and honesty and trust, and giving you something that is truly life-changing. Honestly, I know it sounds like a ridiculous claim, but I genuinely believe that these will change your life for the better. Because we spend a third of our lives in bed, on average. You know, 8 hours a day, that's a third of a day. If you live to 90, that's 30 years of your life you spent sleeping. And we spend so much money and put so much effort and time into finding ways to enjoy our lives while we're awake. And yet, isn't it true that so often we skimp and scrape when it comes to the bedroom and to what we sleep on or under? And I mean, that's ludicrous for a third of our lives. But sleep, you know, the other 2/3 of our life is never going to be as good as it could be if you're not sleeping well and getting rest and recuperating and healing and restoring during the other third of your life. And this bedding can genuinely, honestly, help with that. Now, going back to what I was saying about me being a bit of a purist, I say a bit of, I'm an absolute completist and purist and all of that kind of stuff. I have the mattress as well, because if you're sleeping on top of something that is synthetic, you're going to have the same problems, aren't you? Heat, build up. And also, again, mattresses are absolute breeding grounds for bacteria, dust mites, and who knows what else. Whereas when you've got silk, you avoid that. And actually, I'm not going to tell you about the mattress because we have a clip from a previous show with me. I suppose in a sense I'm going to help because I'm on the video. But you're going to get to meet Ray Kennedy from RK Sales, the man who started the company 67 years ago. And by the way, you can only buy any of these official Mulberry Silk products either through his company, his website, rksales.co.uk, or through Shop on TV. But they do a special deal with us because we are the exclusive television provider or supplier of these items. And that means that basically our prices are better. So, but anyway, here he is. He's one of the most charming and dignified people I've ever met in my entire life. And he's going to tell you a little bit more about the mattress.
This is an extraordinary mattress. It's packed with silk, and because it is packed with silk, it's better, in our opinion, than, say, mattresses which don't have silk in them. Now, how this happened is quite simple. We decided to enter the mattress business roughly about 5 years ago, and we were in a very, very fortunate position, Rob, and I'll tell you why I say that. As you know from previous shows that we have done together over years, as a company, we exhibit at every major retail exhibition in Britain.
Yeah.
And we have done for 65 years. And we talk to the public. When we're live at an exhibition, we talk to the public. And we ask them their likes and their dislikes. And they tell us what they like and they dislike about their bedding. Now, we discovered by asking over a period of about 18 months before we started to manufacture this mattress, we discovered that basically there's two types of mattresses you can get, memory foam or a sprung mattress. Now, some people like memory foam, but we discovered an awful lot of people were unhappy with it.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yes.
It made them too hot, and it tended, in their opinion, to lose shape very quickly.
Yeah.
In actual fact, that happened to my wife and myself. About 9 to 10, 11 years ago, we decided we would like a new mattress. We went to the shop that sells mattresses, and she made me lie in the bed and test it. I lay in the bed for 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, thought this feels okay. Bought one, paid, I think, it was roughly close to £1,000 anyway for it, had it delivered, and 3 or 4 months after we had it delivered, I discovered I didn't really like it at all. I was overheating on it, and it lost shape very quickly, and I was sinking into a hollow within this memory foam mattress. So I was of the same opinion as the public, that based on the information we had gained over 18 months, by talking to the public at roughly 100 retailer outlets every year, that springs were really much better than memory foam to have in a mattress.
But as we've already said, there are different types of spring.
Yeah.
Maybe we haven't really covered that. Well, there are different types of
yes,
spring.
Yes, of course. Well, the old-fashioned sprung mattresses, the springs within the mattress were very large in diameter. Each one was joined to the one next door, and they had a serpentine rail that ran round the outer. Now, the problem then was, of course, I weigh about 19, 20 stone. My wife weighed roughly 10 stone. And when I turned over in bed, the springs, because they were all joined together, you got motion transfer. When I turned over, she ended up rolling over on top of me and bumping into me.
Sometimes the only way you can get a cuddle,
it's the only way you can get a cuddle. Rob, I've been married 48 years. You don't get many cuddles after 48 years. Aww. I can assure you. So what we decided to do as a company, we decided to manufacture a modern mattress with pocket springs.
Right.
Now, this is a cut-down version of what's inside this mattress. This is the pocket springs that you will find inside this mattress. Unlike the old-fashioned springs, these stand on their own. They are not joined together. Now, this is a medium firm support mattress. When you sleep in this, your body is going to be supported. You're not going to sink into a hollow.
Right.
It's not going to lose shape. It cannot lose shape,
yes,
because there's so many springs within the mattress. I think from memory, in a king, there's roughly 800 springs, which is quite a lot.
And they all contour, they fit the contours.
Yes, well, I'll show you this. This might interest the viewers. You'll find, because they all stand independently, the only springs that move in this mattress are the springs where the weight is directly above that particular spring. And to give you some indication of what I mean, if I press this spring down right in the corner, flat as a pancake, the springs either side don't move.
Right.
They simply don't move because they're individual pocket springs.
Now, the other thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we're back live, and as you'll see in a moment, there is a 60-night sleep trial. So you can try this mattress for 60 nights, and if at any point in those 60 nights, and you can literally take it out of the packaging, throw the packaging away, put it on your bed, use your regular covers, but make sure that they are natural covers, excuse me. And if for any reason you don't like it, then you can just make a phone call to the information provided, and they will send you a big bag to put it in, and they'll come and pick it up and take it away, free of charge. And I say free of charge because it's free postage and packing. Now, hang on a minute. Why is it saying £5 postage and packing on here? Oh, I see. Sorry, it's £5 postage and packing. So the £4.95 regular initial postage and packing has been discounted, so it'll be £5 postage and packing. Apologies, I just saw that myself as you saw it too. But still, to have a whole mattress delivered to your home and then picked up and taken away if you don't absolutely love it. And bear in mind that these are the pillow top version. You're getting the pillow top version, which is full. It's essentially like 2 or 3 Mulberry Silk duvets on the top of the bed. So you're sleeping on literally a bed of mulberry silk. And then there's mulberry silk in the duvet as well. There are all these different layers to it. So you've got absolute luxury. It's a medium firm support mattress, just so you know. I find it just right. It's not too hard as the firm ones can be, and not too soft as anything less than a medium can be. And again, what are the sizes we've got left? We've got the King, which is the best stock, and we've got one Super King available. So if you wanted to upgrade... Actually, excuse me, forgive me. Okay, so we've just discovered a little glitch in our graphics. It's not £5 P&P. I know our graphics saying that, but when you actually put it in your basket, it is free P&P. It's completely free. Okay, good. All right, I'm glad we got all that sorted out. Little gremlin in our graphics. So apologies for that. Then at least I know now when ITV and STV join. So thank you, Freeview. You were my guinea pigs. But anyway, shall we go back to Ray? And let's find out a little bit more about this super-duper mattress.
Mulberry silk, of course, keeps you warm in the winter, cool in the summer, stops you sweating, or you sweat less, let's put it that way. It'll take away 30% of its own weight in moisture or sweat. People who overheat in bed, it really is the mattress you should be sleeping on.
Yeah.
Now, the pillow top, we make 3 different mattresses. We make the regular, we make the premium, and the premium plus. Now, what we're offering today is a wonderful bargain, actually, for any viewer watching. We are offering the viewers a chance to get the premium plus for the price we would normally charge for the regular, everyday, bog standard mattress. Now you'll find, I've got a cut down version of it here. You can see it. You can see just how beautiful that is. Yeah, lovely, isn't it?
It is lovely, yeah.
Bed, yeah. This top layer is extra silk, and you'll find when you sleep in this, it really just is the most perfect thing to sleep on.
Yeah. So on the regular mattresses, there's silk inside with all those, but this you're sleeping right on it. And
yes,
again,
but the silk inside the mattress all the way up in one of the layers, then there's extra silk in top and plenty of it. Now, the important thing to remember with this mattress, it is a support mattress. When you sleep on it, you don't you don't sort of go into a recess. I keep using this word recess because mattresses, memory foam, do tend, according to what the public tell us, I'm only repeating what the public have told me for the last 18 months. You'll find me somewhere or somebody from our company at every live exhibition in Britain. For 250 days out of 350 days every year, we will be talking to the public about their bedding likes and their dislikes. So they tell us that they prefer pocket-sprung mattresses. And what we have done is taken a pocket-sprung mattress, filled it with silk, given it a 10-year warranty, a 60-day trial period. It'll be delivered to you. You put it in the bed, you sleep on it for 60 days. If after 60 days you decide you don't like it, and that's virtually impossible, you simply lift the telephone, one telephone call, you phone us up, we will send you a special bag, you pop it in the bag, we come and collect it, and we refund every penny that you paid for this mattress.
I mean, I love that. And actually, you know what? If you've just bought a mattress, and I do empathise if you have, because then you're like, yeah, but this mattress is going to be so much better. Well, you've got two options. The first option is that keep your existing mattress. I don't know, stick it in the spare room, put it up against the wall, whatever you like. Have a go on this. And when I say have a go, do everything on your mattress that you would do on your mattress, your regular mattress at home that you've already bought and paid for. And when you discover that it is a superior sleeping experience, you then have a choice. You might just have to go, you know what? We'll throw our old one out. Or maybe, and if you've just bought it, sometimes you buy something, you realise it was a mistake, and you just have to accept that the financial loss. And it's not an easy thing, cross to bear, I know. However, there is an alternative. If you have just bought a mattress and you're intrinsically happy with it, but you want the benefits of sleeping on silk, then we do have, if you go to shopontv.co.uk, we do have a mattress topper, which is, I believe, 5 inches in height. And that is a Mulberry Silk topper that will go, obviously, on top of your existing mattress. So there it is, as you can see. And we've got that available. Actually, I think we've got that in all sizes. So that mattress pad, yeah, we have. We've got it in all sizes. So that's your other solution. And that will be free P&P as well. Just please ignore if our website's showing P&P. Obviously, we've got a couple of little gremlins in the works, which we'll get sorted for next time. But yeah, it'll be free P&P as well. So it's also a slightly more affordable way, if you know. And also, we only have 2 sizes left in the mattress. So if your size isn't available, go for the mattress pad. Then that way, you're sleeping on Mulberry Silk, you're sleeping under a Mulberry Silk duvet, and your head is on a Mulberry Silk pillow. The only thing other than that you have to take care of really are the environmental issues. So you want to have it as quiet as possible in your room. Not always practical. I live on a main road, but even living on a main road, even during the summer when I've got the window open, I kind of get used to the noise. It becomes like white noise, but I still sleep so much better by having Mulberry Silk. But obviously, ideally, you want the room to be as quiet as possible. You want the room to be as dark as possible, because human beings operate in what's called the circadian rhythm. And we're generally supposed to be awake when it's daylight and asleep when it's dark. So the way around that, I bought a really good, it was 10 quid from Amazon, a really good blackout sleep mask. It's kind of padded on the inside, so you can open your eyes and it doesn't sort of push your eyes closed or anything. It's just around the outside, and you don't get any, or very tiny little bit of light bleed into the sort of nasal area. So, that, or blackout blinds, however you do it, you want it to be as dark as possible. You know what, the one thing most people forget? We've got 5 senses, 6 arguably, but five conventional ones, and that's smell. Your sense of smell is actually one of your strongest senses, and that's why I always advocate some sort of an aromatherapy diffuser. Lavender is always the established one to use before sleep. I actually, ERC, which is one of our beauty brands or skincare brands, they make this wonderful spray, which I don't think we stock yet, which is designed to help you sleep. And it's this, you spray it on your face. And I've got also some essential oils that I put behind my ears and on my pulse points. And that creates this wonderful sort of little bubble of aroma around me as I sleep, and that I find helps get me off as well. So smell, remember that. So you've got to kind of dull all your senses, but when it comes to comfort, when it comes to temperature regulation, and when it comes to staying nice and dry at night, this is the answer. And actually, if you've got kids, maybe they're younger, if they happen to wet the bed or something, you can't do much about the mattress. But by the way, with the mattress, little recommendation, top tip here from me, you can get mattress protectors that are 100% cotton. Again, don't put anything on top of your Mulberry Silk that is not natural fibre. Cotton or, well, you wouldn't want a silk duvet mattress cover because you'd be sliding in and out of the bed. But I say, again, Egyptian cotton, but you can get that. I found them on Amazon. There are a couple of companies that do them online that are 100% cotton, pure Egyptian cotton mattress protectors. They don't have any plastic or anything in them as well. Ever so important that you get those if you do use a mattress protector. But actually, we've got one more clip for the mattress because they are fabulous. And whatever we're saying about the mattress, it will also be true of the mattress pad. All right, the mattress pad doesn't come with a sleep trial, but it still has an unconditional money-back guarantee from RK Sales, the official distributor of Mulberry Silk products in the UK. So you're covered, if you'll pardon the pun, whatever happens. But here's Ray again with that Rob Lock bloke, and here's some more information about the mattress.
As a company, we pay attention to detail. This is manufactured to the highest standards. We use the best fabrics. We've got people we consider to be experts. We export to countries all over the world.
Yeah.
We have a good reputation, I think it would be fair to say, for selling good quality merchandise at an affordable price. And the reason why our prices are so low, you might wonder why are they telling me it's wonderful and yet the prices are so low? Here's the reason why. Normally when you manufacture a mattress, a duvet, a pillow or a pillow slip, when you have it ready to be sold to the public, you take it to a distributor. He then takes it to a wholesaler, and the wholesaler takes it to the retailer. Now each one of those people add on a margin of profit, quite rightly. Mm-hmm. They've done nothing wrong. They're entitled to make a profit for their work. We have eliminated those three people. We only have one partner. We call them partners in each country. You can only buy this mattress from myself at a live presentation or from Shop and TV. The buyers at Shop and TV are very professional, I can assure you, and very tenacious. And they buy very large quantities at an advantageous price. And they work in low margins.
Yes.
So basically what you're getting here is outstanding value for money, and it's backed up with a 10-year warranty.
10-year warranty.
Well, the coils are individual pocket-sprung freestanding coils. And because of the pocket-sprung and the freestanding, they give you total and complete support. Each one is individual and they're not joined together, so they hold your body in the most perfect sleeping position. The silk within the mattress is AAA grade Mulberry Silk. If you do your research and Google or Wikipedia, they will tell you Mulberry Silk, especially AAA, is the highest grade silk in the world. You will also find dust mites don't like it. The Allergy Board will tell you that dust mites don't like silk. So people with allergies, please think about buying a duvet that has no dust mites in it. Yeah, I'm not saying it will cure your allergies. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical practitioner. I couldn't possibly claim that. But what I can say is, get rid of the dust mites. You're walking in the right direction. If you want a good night's sleep, buy one of these mattresses, put it in the bed. If you don't like it, and that's virtually impossible not to like it, We will refund your money, one telephone call, we'll come and pick it up, no problem.
And they'll pick it up for free. That's another Friends reference, isn't it? Your mattress is free. The Mattress King, I think. Yeah, it was Friends, yeah. Anyway, well, we're getting very close to the time when ITV1 and STV will be joining our little happy throng. You know, if you're on Freeview right now, particularly if you do fancy that Super King mattress, we've only got one Super King mattress left. So I'd get that pretty quickly if I were you. Check out your basket. Your money's safe. You're guaranteed. No matter what happens, you get all your money back. And there's no P&P. So this is the first time I've ever had the pleasure of being able to say you get to try Mulberry Silk for free. And all right, yeah, you put the money down initially, but you get it back if for any reason you change your mind. And if you're not happy, it doesn't matter what the reason is. I mean, honestly, and by the way, when you contact RK Sales, and you can go to their website and all their contact information is there, their phones are manned by human people. You're not going to get a chatbot or AI or someone from a faraway land. Not that there's anything wrong with faraway lands. You'll actually get somebody from RK Sales. They're based in Glasgow. And if you're not happy, they'll take care of it. You know, even though, say, the duvet comes with a 10-year guarantee, the pillow comes with a 2-year guarantee, the pillowcases come with a 5-year guarantee. But even after the guarantee's ended, Ray always says, because they are a family company and they're good people, they're genuinely really, really good people and fair and honest people. If you have a problem with your duvet, even after the 10-year warranty runs out, they will always be sympathetic to whatever issue you have. And so, again, remember these products are they're not just for Christmas, they could be for life. When it comes to the duvet, well, maybe we'll change the details onto the duvet. Oh, we have. Sorry, we have. Apologies. Well, for some reason I saw cocoon and I was thinking, oh, why have we put sleep in a cocoon of mulberry silk on our description? Interesting. We're going to have to ask our buying department to stop editorialising the product descriptions. Could you make a note, please, Fraser? Thank you very much. It's like, what the heck? They think they're poets all of a sudden. So yes, these duvets. If you're middle-aged right now, your duvet could outlast you. And if you're buying these duvets for your kids, and you know what, I really think you should, because I remember when my son David was a little sprog, and we thought, oh, he's a kid, you know, they're resilient. They don't need anything fancy. So he had a regular old mattress and regular old bedding, and then it's like, I can't sleep. Why? I'm too hot. Oh, just deal with it. Go to sleep. I can't. Try. I can't. And then you wonder why. And you know, when your kids get to that age, you know, that they're sort of taking exams and things like that could change the whole course of their lives. And you don't get. I remember when I was, you know, cramming for my GCSEs. I was the first year of GCSEs. That was fun. They weren't GCSEs. I did the first year. Kieran was like, "Didn't you do GCEs, O levels?" No, I did do A levels, but I did the first year of GCSEs. And funny aside, I went to my father basically spent every penny he earned sending me to a posh school, and we were getting questions wrong left, right, and centre in the mock exams, and we couldn't work out why. And it turned out that some of the questions were so easy that we thought that can't be the answer, it's too easy. So one of them, I'll never forget from my chemistry exam, was why do they put tarpaulin over chemicals that are kept outside? And we were all coming up with all these fancy answers and everything, and the answer was to keep them dry if it rains. We're like, what? Yeah, that was it. Whereas O levels, that you know, that made your eyes go squiffy every time you're trying to answer those questions. They weren't easy at all. But anyway, why was I talking about all of that? Oh yeah, but the fact is that, you know, when you take those examinations, they can determine whether you get into a university, if that's the route you want to go. You know, if you have a particular career in mind, sometimes you have to go to university. You have to get a degree in order to do certain jobs. And I remember staying up for my design and technology project. I had to do a whole portfolio that I'd left to the last minute, and so many sleepless nights before the actual exams. And the precious little sleep that you get, you want it to be good quality. And maybe you don't have a chance to sleep very often or very much because you're a busy entrepreneur or something like that, or you just have busy lives with family and what have you, whatever your situation is. If sleep, Arnold Schwarzenegger always says that to be a successful entrepreneur, the time management, very important. And if you haven't got enough hours in the day to sleep, he just says sleep quicker. And you can potentially, if you have 6 hours of really good quality sleep versus 9 hours of broken toxic sleep, I'd take the 6 hours every day. And that's what this bedding is going to help you achieve. It really is that good. I don't think, and if there were better bedding out there, in the last 30 years of working in transactional television, I probably would have found it by now and tried it. And the fact is that I don't spend money on anything that I don't think is the absolute best. I mean, I'm a real snob when it comes to that sort of thing. It's the best or nothing. And I've got 2 sets at home. I've got another set, and so does my son. So I guess I've got 2 sets also in our crew house in Warrington. Everyone I know has got Mulberry Silk, and everyone I care about and love has it too, because I make sure that they have it. So anyway, all this talk of sleep, please stay up with me. ITV and STV coming next.
Merry Christmas!
Nice. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Sorry, that's my proper TV opening. I felt all important. At the end, I'm going to do this like the newsreaders do. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Shop on TV with me, Rob Lock, with an E. Do you know what Mulberry Silk is? If you do, free P&P tonight on everything. Ha! You get to try Mulberry Silk maybe for the first time, and it won't cost you anything, because if you're not happy, you get all your money back, and you haven't got to spend a penny to get it to you in the first place. If you've never heard of Mulberry Silk, stay tuned, because I'm about to change your life for the better. I promise. I'm not saying that in any way to exaggerate. I genuinely mean it. I'm going to transform in the next 20 to 30 minutes 1/3 of your life and make it better, much better than you ever thought it could be. Maybe you think that 1/3 of your life is already as good as it possibly could be. And I'm talking about the third of your life you spend in bed. A 90-year-old will have spent around about 30 years in bed. That third of our life is incredibly important. It helps us to restore, recuperate, rest, regenerate, heal. And if it's not good quality sleep, then all of those things don't work very well. How many times have you woken up, even after several hours or a full sort of quotient of hours sleep, and said, "God, I'm still tired. I must have slept funny." We blame it on ourselves, don't we? Well, no, ladies and gentlemen, it is not your fault. It is the fault, probably, of your bedding, what you're sleeping under and what you're sleeping on. And tonight I have the solution. This is the most mundane show I ever do, because we're talking about bedding. And you're like, bedding? Well, that'll put me to sleep, just the sound of it. No, because this is bedding with a difference. This is Mulberry Silk, AAA grade Mulberry Silk, the finest silk money can buy, inside every duvet, every pillow, every mattress and pillowcase. And that's what we have for you tonight. And silk has extraordinary properties that you do not get with hollow, man-made, synthetic, whatever you prefer to call it, fibre, or any kind of feather filling in your bedding. those have really major problems with them that I'm going to cover in this show. Now, I have my trusty iPad. If you want to send me an email, studio@shopontv.co.uk. You can also go through our website. If you go to the show page, there's a web message box. You can reach me that way too, if you wish. If you've already got Mulberry Silk, I'm going to ask you, if you've seen the show before, I would love your personal testimonials of how great this bedding has been for you. If you've just got it for the first time recently, maybe from the show last week, I want to hear how it's transformed your life. Let's share the wealth. Let's share the wealth. Let's share the wealth with the new viewers so that they too can reap the benefits that you have now enjoyed. Okay, here are the prices. Now, I'm going to put these up straight away because I want you to understand something special is going on here. First of all, the usual prices, big savings compared to what we're charging tonight. The prices we're charging tonight have not changed in 22 years. In fact, they are lower now than they were 22 years ago when this product launched on television for the very, very first time. Now, where it says delivery $4.95, ignore that. For our Black Friday special, everything you buy from the show tonight will be free postage and packing. Not a penny will be charged to have these delivered to your door. Now, if you were to think and had thought, or briefly for a moment it crossed your mind, well, for a single £139, a double £179, a king £199, a super king £219, those are quite, sort of spendy prices for a duvet, Rob. Well, it's all about what you get for your money, isn't it? Because if you buy cheap, you pay twice. How many pillows have you bought in your life that were inferior, that were subpar, that you've thrown away? So how much money have you already thrown away on pillows? How much money have you thrown away on duvets? Or have you spent on getting them dry cleaned? Because that can be £20, £30 just to have a duvet dry cleaned. And here's the thing, folks. The duvets are guaranteed for 10 years, a decade, a whole decade. However, there are people out there that have had their duvets for 20, 25, 30. Ray's had his for, I think, 35 or 37 years, Ray. Normally, I'm pointing over there, because normally he'd be my guest, Ray Kennedy. He's not there. Ray, where are you? It's just me tonight. and that is not an uncommon story. This could very well be the last duvet you ever have to buy in your lifetime. If you're middle-aged, your duvet will probably outlive you. If you buy these for your kids, they will be middle-aged before they probably even have to consider or think about for a moment buying a new duvet. And in fact, with a duvet, the only thing that might eventually wear out will be the cotton on the outside. There are only two components on these duvets. Inside, AAA grade mulberry silk. Outside, Egyptian long-fibre Egyptian cotton, 230 thread count. Anything over 200 is considered luxury. That's it. And I'm going to extol the virtues of why silk, AAA grade mulberry silk, is not only the best silk that money can buy, but it has incredible properties, natural properties, that you just don't get with hollow fibre or feather products, feather fillings. And I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, and again, I don't make any commission doing these shows. I am purely giving you the facts that I have discovered. Blimey, I wish I did. The number of Mulberry Silk duvets that have been sold on shows I've presented, I'd be a millionaire. But the point is that this enthusiasm is my own, and literally only my own, because I have Mulberry Silk at home in London. I have duvet, pillows, 2 pillows, and a mattress, and actually a mattress protector that's made by Mulberry Silk. We don't have those on the show tonight. My son has the same. I've got super king, he's got king size. I have a double bed in our house in Warrington. That's all Mulberry Silk mattress, Mulberry Silk duvet, Mulberry Silk pillows. My son also, in fact, all the crew, we have 4 rooms in this HMO. They all have Mulberry Silk pillows and duvets. And everyone I know and love and care about has Mulberry Silk, because it is the best night's sleep I think you can possibly get from any bedding that money can buy. And I really do genuinely mean that. And the fact is that And now you can put it to the test, because before, all right, we were only charging a £5 or £4.95 for the duvet to be delivered or for a pillow to be delivered, only £9.95 for a mattress to be delivered and taken away, by the way. You get a 60-night sleep trial on the mattress if you decided you didn't want to keep it. But tonight it's free. So you can literally, all right, yes, you're putting the money down initially, but if for any reason you are not happy, all these items come with an unconditional money-back guarantee. I don't say that about most of our products. Shop on TV offer a refund policy, but generally that means you kind of use the product and it has to be in its original packaging and all that kind of stuff. However, on every single product, so for example on the pillow, but it will be on the duvet, the mattress, all of it, there is a tag. And that has the information for RK Sales, who are the exclusive distributor of Mulberry Silk in the UK. And all these products are made by the official Mulberry Silk manufacturing company, and they are a Canadian company. So you get in touch with RK Sales, and they have been in business 67 years. And so they are a long-standing, reputable, honest, trustworthy company. And as the owner, Ray Kennedy, who would normally be here, will say and would say, if you're not happy for any reason, we will give you your money back with the same civility that we took it from you. And you will talk to a real live person if you call their company, no chatbots or AI or, you know, distant people from distant lands. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you will actually talk to somebody in their offices in Glasgow, and whatever issue you have, if you don't want to keep the product, they will give you your money back. Okay, it's already flying. By the way, all these products carry the Allergy UK seal of approval. And that certificate is to certify for the effectiveness against dust mites. Dust mites hate silk. It is too dry a condition for them, or a living condition. So it's like us going to move into the Sahara Desert. We might go in for the day and pitch a tent and have some dates or something, but we don't live there because we can't. We couldn't survive there. The same is true with dust mites and silk. So this duvet, this pillow, the mattress, the pillowcases, these are the bedding products certified by Allergy UK that you are not ever going to have to worry about dust mites with. Dust mites, there can be millions of dust mites in your duvet. If you have a feather-filled duvet, or mattress or pillow. When I say duvet, just for any of the products that we've got for you tonight, just assume it's for all of them, right? Or if you have a synthetic hollow fibre, or man-made fibre, first of all, they are breeding grounds for bacteria. That's number one. You sweat into them, they're hot and wet. That equals bacteria. That's number one. Number two, they will be infested with dust mites. Millions of dust mites. I mean, and the thing is, dust mites themselves, not really a problem for us. We cohabit, we live alongside them and they us, and they don't really affect us. But their droppings can, because their droppings are an irritant when breathed in, and they can cause allergies. I actually had to have a course of injections when I was a kid because I was horribly allergic to dust mites. So that's the thing. And also, if you've got a pillow that is hollow fibre or is feather filled, do yourselves a favour. If you want, you can do it now if you like. If you're in bed or if you go to your bedroom, get your pillow and hold it up like that. Right now, this, as you can see, is perfectly horizontal, and it will keep that shape always for the life of the pillow. And that could be your life, the rest of your life, incidentally. Pillows come with a 2-year guarantee. No other pillow carries a money-back guarantee or any kind of guarantee or warranty at all, because once you bought them, you can't send them back. If you don't want them, you throw them away, they go into landfill. These, you not only have an unconditional money-back guarantee, yes, you can return them if you don't like them. On the last show, Ian, our camera operator, he got the pillow, and he has since told us when he slept on it, best experience he's ever had, basically, sleeping on a pillow. And that's the sort of thing, once you sleep on this for the first time or under a Mulberry Silk duvet, it's life-changing. You go, oh my God, that is... Can I talk about the pillow briefly? Incidentally, I want to tell you something just very quickly. AAA grade Mulberry Silk is naturally temperature regulating. Okay, so it will keep you, with a duvet, for example, it will keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And there's a reason for that I'll get into in more detail. It also wicks away 30% of its own weight in moisture. So have you ever, when you've been too hot in bed, woken up with a hot head on the pillow and also wet hair? because you sweat, and most of your heat is lost through your head. And if your pillow isn't wicking away the moisture, it builds up and you end up with a moist head. So what do? You wake up, you turn the pillow around and you try to go back to sleep. You will not have that with this pillow because it wicks away moisture. And the other thing, also, these are machine washable. The duvets, the pillows, the pillowcases, they are machine washable. So when I tell you everything there is to know about Mulberry Silk tonight, which I will, if you've got any questions, let me know. Come say hi. I will answer anything you need a question or an answer to, even if it's nothing to do with duvets. You can put them in the washing machine. Now, these will go in a regular front-loading 7.5 kilo washing machine. You can get 2 in, but I like to do them 1 at a time. I like to give them room to move around, you know. And I use regular, personally I use a liquid gel, but you can use powder, you can use the tablets if you want to. Yes, you can use fabric softener also, no problem at all. 30-degree wash. And you can tumble dry them also if you wish to, again on low. But what I tend to do is I live in a flat, I put them onto my clothes horse, and one side of a pillow on a normal average kind of temperature day will take about, I don't know, 45 minutes in the summer, about half an hour. Then I turn it over. So an hour to an hour and a half to dry a pillow. The duvets will dry in 45 minutes. And I double them up and hang them over my clothes horse. You know, if you want to, you can line dry them as well. And there's no reason you know, you can't tumble dry them is what I was going to say. There's no reason you can't tumble dry them. I don't, only because I've got a washer dryer and the tumble dryer just doesn't work very well on a washer dryer in my opinion. By the way, regular size bedding, if you want to put duvet covers on the duvets, pillowcases on the pillows, you absolutely can. What is essential though, please hear this. Now hear this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll get asked this all night, I know, and I'll say it over and over again. You have to, in order to get all the properties, the special properties of silk, you have to use natural fibre covers. Silk or cotton. Now, you're not going to get a silk duvet cover because you'd slide out the bed, or a fitted sheet, but you can get Egyptian cotton. And the fact is that you can go to Amazon or Dunelm or places like that, and you can get a fitted, a 300 thread count Egyptian cotton luxury fitted sheet for about 15 quid, maybe 20 quid. It depends how fancy you go and what the thread count is. And a duvet set with a couple of pillowcases, again, 25, 30 quid, 35 quid. They're very affordable. Make sure they are cotton. They have to be breathable. The analogy I always use is if you've got a non-stick pan and you put a chicken breast or something on top of it to cook, it won't stick because it's touching the non-stick. But if you put a cast iron plate on top of the non-stick and then put the food on top of that, it would stick because it's not reaching the non-stick, right? It's being blocked. So that's the equivalent here. You don't want to put artificial fibres that don't breathe on top of any Mulberry Silk product because it blocks the properties of the silk. So natural temperature regulation, moisture wicking, so it keeps you nice and dry at night when you sweat into your bedding. No dust mites, or a few might wander in for the day, but they'll very soon leave. Covered by the Allergy UK seal of approval. You know, after 3 years, the weight of a duvet or pillow, they reckon, is about 50% dust mites and their droppings and the carcasses of their former dead relatives. Or not former dead former relatives. You can't formally be dead, can you? You know what I mean? So, and again, if you want to... did I tell you? If I wanted that... Sorry, I started earlier and then I didn't finish. I was holding the pillow up, wasn't I, and saying, look how lovely and horizontal it is. If you have a hollow fibre pillow and you hold it up like that and it droops down at the sides, if it's older, if it's a few months old, a lot of that is the weight of the dust mites, the droppings, and the dead dust mites. Now again, relatively harmless, unless you have allergies, but I still think it's a bit icky. And if you've got a hollow fibre duvet or pillow or whatever, or anything that is filled with feathers, you're going to have that problem. But here's the other thing. And this is the most important thing. This is the reason you buy Mulberry Silk bedding. Yes, it's luxurious. Yes, you can wash it. Yes, it's certified against dust mites and so on and so forth. Yes, the duvet's got a 10-year guarantee. Yes, the pillow's got a 2-year guarantee. Yes, the pillowcase has got a 5-year guarantee, and that's pure silk front and back. AAA grade is the very finest silk that money can buy. If you had a suitcase full of cash, you could not buy better. It originates in China, and basically, I can show you you get these little cocoons, and inside a cocoon you have a silkworm, right? And the silkworm, before it metamorphoses into a moth, it cocoons itself in this silk. Now, in China, it can go from extremely hot during the day to extremely cold at night. You can have very harsh weather conditions, monsoons, beating sun, and not to mention all the predators that are all trying to get inside, right? I can't crush that. It's really strong. Tensile strength is the second strongest natural substance known to man, second only to spider's web, spider silk, from a tensile strength. If you had a pound of this and a pound of steel kind of thing, this would be stronger. So, and in your duvets and pillows, these cocoons are put in tepid water and they unravel in one unbroken strand. Several of those are then wound together into threads, and then those threads they go into your duvet. They're anchored at the top. They're all pulled down the length of the duvet and wound in full length, miles, about in a king-size duvet, about 12 miles of silk. And each silk strand and thread could be 1 to 2 miles long. And then they're stitched into these sort of box cassettes that keep them in place so they never bunch or anything like that. So I mean, there are thousands of these cocoons in every single duvet, every single mattress. They are all handmade as well. But here's the thing. AAA grade, yes, it's the highest quality that money can buy. There is just no better. But it's what all of those benefits do for you. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line, and this is the bit where I'm going to get really serious, and this is the bit I really ask you to consider honestly in the comfort of your own mind and answer truthfully to yourself, because that's where you're going to make the decision to improve the quality of your life. As I said, I would help you do right at the very start of the show. When you're in bed, if you've got a hollow fibre duvet, and I'm going to talk about the duvet for a moment. The pillows are flying, by the way. They always do. What happens? Or if you've got feather, what happens? You cover yourself up, and then what? You get too hot, don't you? Because those types of filling trap heat. The heat cannot escape. So at first, you get in and it's like, especially in the winter, it's like, oh, it's freezing. And it takes a little while to get up to temperature. And then you reach that perfect temperature and you go, ah. And maybe that's when you fall asleep. But as you then stay underneath that duvet, you get hotter and hotter and hotter because the heat has nowhere to go. And eventually you're sweating, you're overheating, and what do? You wake up and you take the duvet, you throw it off. Now, in the winter, maybe, in the middle of the night, the central heating's gone off, it's cold, and then what happens? You've probably fallen asleep again, maybe relatively quickly. You wake up again because you're now too cold, and you put the duvet back on. And then the whole cycle repeats. Too hot, duvet off. Too cold, duvet on. Off, on, all night long. That is called toxic sleep, because as human beings, we have several levels of sleep through which we must pass in order to get the full effect of what sleeping is for, which is to restore, to help us recuperate, regenerate, heal, etc., and function as humans when we're awake. If you get into your sleep cycle, which takes those various stages take about an hour and a half. That's why they always say if you have to sleep for less time than normal, try to do it in increments of 90 minutes, because then you won't wake up in the middle of a cycle and feel groggy. Little top tip there. But if you're woken up when you're supposed to be asleep, while you've been asleep in the middle of this cycle, you can't go back to sleep and then carry on where you left off. You go back to the beginning again. So constantly, all night long, your sleep is being interrupted. Every complete cycle of restorative, recuperative, regenerative, healing, relaxing sleep is getting broken at some point, and then you start again, and it gets broken, start again, broken, start again. That's when you wake up, even after hours and hours in bed, and you go, I'm still tired. How can I still be tired? I've been sleeping for hours. But you haven't been sleeping for hours. You haven't slept properly. Now, that can inform your whole day. on the motorway, tiredness can kill. You know, tiredness, do not operate heavy machinery when tired. If you're trying to concentrate on something important, a project, work, even just being around other people, we often have the biggest rows with the people we love when we are tired and ratty, irritable, right? Your sleep has such a major impact on your day. And this really, really is going to help you sleep better. It just is. Because when you're under a Mulberry Silk Duvet with your head on a Mulberry Silk pillow, and if you want to stretch to the mattress, or actually we've even got mattress pad that will go on top of your existing mattress, if you want to then be completely Mulberry Silked up, it's all about having a better night's sleep. We spend so much time, as I say, a third of our lives roughly in bed. And yet, I mean, maybe you're as guilty of this as I am. I'll spend ludicrous amounts of money. I mean, you know, I can be a spendthrift when it comes to things that will give me pleasure while I'm awake. I mean, I spent $3.5 grand on a TV and a soundbar, for crying out loud. Which, all right, I'm a bit of a cinemaphile, so you know, for me that was a purchase that I think was a wise purchase. But yeah, in the days of yesteryear, I would spend nothing on my duvets, and I mean, even when I moved back to the UK in 2018 from the States, I went to the bedding store, and I wanted a bargain, so I got their, you know, store brand mattress that was on an autumn sale, and the Super King was supposed to be 900 quid. I got it for 450, and the king size that my son slept on was on sale for, I think it was 800, and we got it for 4 or something like that. I shopped a bargain. I wouldn't have even occurred to me to get a mattress that was thousands of pounds. Just wouldn't have even occurred to me. And I got cheap duvets, which were, I think, 13.5 tog, I think, you know, and cheap pillows. And they were awful. I hated the mattresses. They broke my back for years. And I just didn't sleep well because, look, you've done this. And I bought, by the way, 2 packs, 20 quid for 4 pillows. And I tried one. Well, that was no good. Then I tried another one. That was no good. I had all 4 going. And still my head went all the way down to the bottom of the bed. I got the sides of the pillows are all curling around the side of my head. My head's getting extremely hot, and I'm hot-headed at the best of times. So what did I do? I was like, I can't sleep on these. I stuck them, I had an ottoman bed, stuck them underneath the bed. I thought, oh, well, I'll save those for guests. And then every time I had a guest over, they were like, have you got any better pillows than this? And so what did I do in the end? I threw them away. Millions and millions of these pillows go into landfill every single year. And duvets too. But here's the thing, right? You buy a duvet from a shop, okay? Or a pillow from a shop. Any kind of shop, bedding shop, department store, doesn't matter. Online, you can't return it. Once you've opened the packaging, that's it. The rules and regulations will not allow them to be returned for hygiene purposes, right? You can't even, they can't even be given to charity. Because, again, the charities, if they've been used, the charities for hygiene reasons are not allowed to accept them. You know, that some of them go to be used for pet beds or you know, things like that, farmyard bedding and what have you. But other than that, millions go into landfill every single year. But this could be the last pillow you ever need to buy. This could be the last duvet you ever need to buy. There are people out there who've had their Mulberry Silk duvets for 20, 30, 35 plus years. Egyptian cotton on the outside, 230 thread count, 100% pure, AAA grade, unbroken, full length, full fibre, mulberry silk inside. And here's the other thing you've got to be really careful of, right? I think because of the popularity of Shop on TV and actually, you know, the ITV have been broadcasting a show even when it was run by a different company before that broadcast shopping items on television, and Mulberry Silk were among them. And I presented those shows, actually, as well, with Ray. And so it's been around a while. So there are other people out there purporting to be selling Mulberry Silk duvets. You've got to be careful, because there are rules and regulations that actually make it, I think, personally, really unfair. Number one, you could buy a Mulberry Silk duvet, and Ray tells the story of his son Martin, 2 Christmases ago, I think it would have been now, went into a very, very famous department store in Glasgow. and he went in for a completely unrelated purpose, but happened to notice that they were selling Mulberry Silk duvets. And of course, given that they are the exclusive representatives of the official Mulberry Silk manufacturing company in the UK, Martin was interested. So he went and had a little look, and £500+ for a king-size duvet. £500. And actually, to be fair, if these were for sale in general retail, you know, because this is the way it works. You know, the manufacturer sells it sometimes to an agent, who then sells it to a distributor, who then the distributor sells it to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler sells it to the retailer. They're all adding on their markup, their profit. And then in retail, you know, bricks and mortar, you've got slotting fees and shrinkage fees and, you know, extra fees depending on what placement on the shelf it is and what area it's going to be in. And if it's an end cap, you pay more. Sometimes there's cooperative advertising, so you have to pay money for that. Then you also have to accept that if they don't sell through, you get all of that returned. You've got to refund their money. I mean, it's a minefield. It really is, dealing with traditional retailers anymore. In fact, if you've watched Dragon's Den, you'll have heard it many, many times. Whereas we deal directly with RK Sales, who are the exclusive distributor of Mulberry Silk products from the official Mulberry Silk manufacturing company, which is a Canadian-based company in the UK. They sell these products on their website, rksales.co.uk, and we sell it here. We are the only TV retailer, or retailer of any kind, actually, of Mulberry Silk products here in the UK. So that cuts out all the middlemen, as they used to call them, middle people, I suppose, these days. And so that's why, if these products were in traditional retail, they probably would be 500 quid. So anyway, back to the story. So Martin, Ray's son, saw this duvet for £500+. It was about 550, I forget exactly what it was, but it was over 500 quid. But then he looked at the label. And on the label, it told him something quite shocking. The duvet only contained 12% mulberry silk. That was it. The rest was, who knows. Quite often Ray has told me they will polish cotton to make it look like silk. And also, it wasn't full-length fibre silk, mulberry silk. It was offcuts. It was little bits. So even with box cassettes, that can all move around and clump. And it's. But the point is, you know, people are going and spending 500 quid thinking they're buying a top quality mulberry silk duvet because, yeah, you know, mulberry silk is regarded as the best, the king of silk. But they're only getting 12%, and it's inferior quality mulberry silk that's in there anyway. It's leftovers. I mean, and that's marketing for you, I'm afraid, and you've got to be careful. You really got to be careful. I know if you Google mulberry silk right now, because I've done it, there is another company that sells what appear to be these sorts of products at similar sorts of prices. But read the label, because they are, some of them I know for a fact are cheap knockoffs, and they are not genuine mulberry silk. They are polished cotton. You've got to be careful. One of the things about this show is we are your official shopping show on ITV and STV. We are a partnership with ITV and STV. We don't pay for the airtime. We don't just show up and, you know, rent the space. This is a partnership. And so we are held to the very highest standards by ITV. We have governance, we're oversight by Ofcom and the advertising standards. So your money is safe. And me sitting and telling you about all of this, the mulberry silk and everything else that you're buying tonight, has to be genuine. It is genuine. So you know you're buying from the reputable source. When you buy mulberry silk from us, I'm confident in saying that you're getting the absolute best prices. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've never slept under mulberry silk, or more to the point, if you have only ever slept on bedding that is filled with either synthetic fibre or feather, I promise you, you've never had the best night's sleep you can. You don't know what you don't know, do you? And maybe you think, well, I think I sleep okay, Rob. I guarantee you're not. Well, I personally believe you're not. I suppose I have to say I can't guarantee anything on that front. Everyone's different. But that's why. Why don't you try? Because if you think you're getting a good night's sleep now, wait till you've actually slept with this bedding. And it's free P&P. It will cost you nothing to get it home. The price of the product, yes, obviously we're going to take that from your credit or debit card tonight. But if you are not 100% satisfied, in fact, even if you just change your mind, even if you're not satisfied for the most bizarre reason known to man or woman, it doesn't matter. Because RK Sales, not us, Shop on TV, you basically get in touch with RK Sales directly, and as Ray always says, they will give you your money back with the same civility from which they took it from you. Oh, hold on, we've signed out of... oh, excuse me a second. Just make... good. We'd signed out of the iPad for some reason. I've got some great emails here, so let's have a little catch-up, shall we? More about... Look, I'm going to wax lyrical until 3 a.m, so I hope I've given you enough information thus far to check out your basket. If you're not sure about at least try the pillow. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but most people who try a pillow, and a pillowcase I'll show you in a minute, then go, oh my God, he was right. He was telling the truth. I'll get a duvet as well. So maybe you don't have the budget for the duvets right now. That's fine. But, you know, eventually I can only recommend, if you want to sleep better and sleep as well as you possibly can, Mulberry Silk bedding is the answer. Plus some other things I'll cover, but they're not to do with bedding. They're to do with environment. Good morning, Rob. This is from Lee. Lee Riley from Runcorn. Oh, that's Lee Riley from Runcorn. Hi, Lee. How are you? Please, can I ask, would you need a duvet cover on the Mulberry Silk Duvet? Thank you. No, not necessarily. These are... There's in America, they don't call them duvets, they call them comforters. And they generally have a cover that doesn't require another cover on top of it. So if white fits the aesthetic of your bedroom, then they are absolutely gorgeous on their own. And in fact, when white was my theme, I didn't have a duvet cover at all. It's really the only reason you put a duvet cover on is if you want to change the colour of your bedding, the look of your bedding. So I've got grey at the moment, so I went to Amazon and I found this really great supplier that does Egyptian cotton duvet covers and pillow. The fact that you can get a set with pillowcases and fitted sheets. And I paid about 15 quid, I think it was, for the fitted sheet. This was for a double in Warrington. And I think I paid about 25 quid. And I bought 2 sets, so I could obviously have one washing, one I'm using the other one. So they're really not that expensive. The bedding's not that expensive. But yeah, so yes, you can. It's entirely up to you. Standard sizes. But as I always say, and I have to remind everybody, including you, Lee, if you haven't heard me say this yet, make sure you get at least cotton, if not Egyptian cotton. You have to have natural fibre, because if you don't, then what will happen is if you put like polyester, you know, something like polyester, well, anything artificial, basically. It's synthetic, that's the word I was looking for. It's going to block the benefits of the silk. So why go to all of the trouble of getting a Mulberry Silk duvet? It's like, why pay £500 for a really expensive set of non-stick pans and then stick a cast iron trivet on top? Because it defeats the purpose, you know what I mean? Claire, hello Claire, how are you? Will the Mulberry Silk duvet help with night sweats? I'm suffering from menopause currently and having hot sweats right now whilst watching the show. It's horrible. Claire, I couldn't begin to understand what you and ladies in a similar position are going through and what that's like. You have my full empathy. If Ray was sitting here right now, what he would have said, probably actually by now, is if you have the menopause, this is absolutely essential for you. Because he comes from Glasgow and he doesn't mind me doing the accent, so just FYI. Claire, I don't think, whatever relief you could possibly get in bed at night with night sweats, I don't personally think there is any other bedding on the market that will give you anywhere near to the sort of relief that you could get from the Mulberry Silk bedding. And I promise you, I'm not saying that because I just want you to buy it, because I don't roll like that. I care about people generally, and also, and you know, I suppose selfishly, I don't want people to buy these and then get them home and then they're like, oh, that Rob, it was all a load of rubbish. He was just trying, you know, because they'll all come back. They'll all be sent back. You know, I'll tell you a story about the returns on the pillow in a minute, but absolutely, hand on heart, swear on all the people that I care about, definitely, Claire, I can strongly recommend that the Mulberry Silk duvet is probably the best thing you can get to help with your night sweats in terms of bedding. I hope that answers your question. Kyle, hi, I'm loving the show. Thank you. I always worry when it's just me on my own because I'm like, I hope I'm coming across as being reasonably interesting. I'm thinking about ordering the Mulberry Silk pillows. I've been having sleepless nights, especially as a Sheffield Wednesday fan for tomorrow's Derby game. They look perfect for getting a comfortable night's sleep. Kyle, honestly, I've had such a hellacious time with pillows in the past. Very quickly, I'll come to the other emails in a sec, if I may. But let me just quickly tell you. So, I think it was about 5 or 6 years, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, Mulberry Silk had already been a top seller on this particular shopping channel that I was working for. And so the official Mulberry Silk manufacturing company were asked via Ray, can you make a pillow? And by the way, the official Mulberry Silk manufacturing company, they are bedding experts. I mean, they have boffins and scientists and people in white coats with pens in their pockets and protractors and things like that know more about bedding than anyone else will ever know. They've forgotten more than most people will know. So they truly are absolute bedding experts, and also experts when it comes to silk. And by the way, silk only comes from China, or at least in any commercial quantity and of this grade. But they deal with the very top factory, the most reputable and honest factory that I think exists in China, certainly when, in the silk industry. So it is pure from top to bottom, honesty, integrity, trustworthy, all of the above. But anyway, so they were asked to make a pillow. So it took months of research and development, and eventually they came up with this. Now, this has a fibre core, and that's purely to give it loft and also stability. So you can bend this pillow as much as you like, wash it as much as you like, sleep on it as much as you like. It will always come back to its original shape, always. Now, my pillows, my original ones that I've got in London, I've had for... It was about around the time of the pandemic, the first lockdown, whenever that was. I lose 2020. It's 5 years ago. 5 years, right? They still look as good today as they did when I first bought them. You can machine wash them, by the way. Did I mention that yet? I hope I did. And free P&P. Remember free P&P? You can wash them. Nothing special, and I'll talk about if they get stained, maybe if you've got kids and they dribble or, have little accidents and things like that. I'll talk about whitening in a moment because there are ways that I've learned through experience how to do that. But anyway, so when in the first year that the pillow was released and offered for sale, 86,000 people purchased the pillow. Now, there's a particular study or organisation or what do they call it, overseer or some such thing that did this survey that if anyone and everyone could return their pillows right now, like literally the whole nation had an opportunity this second to return all their pillows if they didn't like them, that at least 60% of the nation would send their pillows back. That means at least 60% of the nation, they reckon, is very, very unhappy with their pillow. And that's why there are millions of them going into landfill every single year. When 86,000 people bought the Mulberry Silk pillow, not this exact one, but this type of pillow that I have right in front of me here, the returns for the entire year, that they did have some returns, 15, not percent, 15 individual pillows. Fraser, have you got a calculator now? Fraser's our producer. Can you do 15 divided by 86,000, please? Just waiting for that. Yeah, 86,000. 0.0001744,186% return rate. 0.30, right? 0.00017. So 0.0002% return rate on this pillow. It transformed my life. I mean it. First of all, the loft of it's just right. If you're someone that would normally sleep on 2 of the synthetic pillows, then then one is probably enough for you. If you like a lot of loft, you could put two, one on top of the other. It is doable. I find it a little bit too high. I tend to favour just turning the corner in a little bit if I need to just get a bit more lift on the side of my head. But also, I tell you though, if you do get two, they're great if you put one at an angle and another one on top for sitting up in bed. So if you're bed-bound, if you're convalescing, or if you're just sitting in bed watching telly or reading something, absolutely brilliant. They are so comfortable. Remember, you're not going to get a hot head. Mulberry Silk, temperature regulating, helps keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Naturally wicks away 30% of its weight in moisture, keeping you dry at night when you sweat into your bed. Allergy UK, seal of approval for effectiveness against dust mites. Dust mites do not like to live in these pillows or your duvets. If you have a pillow that's 3 years old, as much as 50% of the weight could be dust mites, dust mite droppings and carcasses of dead dust mites. And I'm sorry, that is a fact. As I say, I just want you to know, I'm not trying to sort of scare everyone here. Dust mites are arachnids, they are from the spider family, but they are harmless to us. We breathe them in, they're all over. I mean, look, it's not an issue. But their poo-poo, their droppings can be. When breathed in, they can be an irritant, and that's what causes dust mite allergies. So if you've got people who are allergy sufferers, asthmatics, I was heavily asthmatic when I was a kid, and my mum's doctor, or my doctor, told my mum, just get the allergens out as much as possible. Dust every day, vacuum every day. Try not to put anything anywhere near me that could set me off. So duvet, I mean, gosh, not only are we talking about dust mites, but if you've got a synthetic duvet, synthetic pillow, or any kind of feather product, every time you sweat into it, it gets wet and hot. It breeds bacteria, and you can't wash them. Would you wear the same pair of underpants every day? No. Assuming you wear them, of course. Because bacteria and nasty stuff would build up on them, right? You'd wash them, I would think. But with a duvet, what do? We just put another cover on it. We wash the cover. Well, we don't wash the duvet or the pillow. So it's the equivalent of never changing my underpants, just changing my trousers every couple of weeks. These you can wash. 10-year guarantee. You will probably never have to buy another duvet again. At least 10-year guarantee. It comes with a 10-year guarantee. But Ray from RK Sales always says, if it's after the 10-year guarantee, you have an issue, not a problem. By the way, pillowcases, we'll show you the pillowcases in a moment. I just want to do these other emails here. So, Mr. Pillows. Hello, Mr. Pillows. How are you? I was watching Jonathan Ross. Let me try that again. I was watching Jonathan Ross and was on the phone for ages. I stumbled across the show. Do you use them yourself? You have such an insane job. I commend you. I really enjoy silkworm education. I am here to educate about all manner of worms. Tonight just happens to be silk. I do have an insane job. It is very strange. Have I tried them? I've got so much mulberry silk. So I have a flat in London that these days I never see because I'm working up in Manchester. So I have a Super King bed. I have the Super King cocoon mattress, which is the version under here. We've got one of those left, by the way. I have the Super King duvet. I have 2 pillows. My son has a king-size bed. He has a king-size cocoon mattress. He has a king-sized duvet, and he has 2 pillows. In the crew house, I've got a double bed. I've got the double cocoon mattress, king-size duvet, so I get the hotel drape, and 2 pillows. And he's got a small double, so he hasn't got the mattress because they don't fit small double. But he has got the duvet, king-size duvet for the hotel drape and 2 pillows. So same with our directors, same with our producers. So all the crew have them. Every single person that works on Shop on TV have Mulberry Silk, everything. But there's more. I've also got 2 spare pillows that are actually sitting in their carry things in my room. I've got 2 extras for guests. So they're sitting in my room in our HMO in Warrington. And the original duvet that I bought was a single duvet. So back during the pandemic, you remember when they shut hotels down? Unless you were support staff, you couldn't go into a hotel. So I was living in London but working in Peterborough at the time. So our CEO, who happens to be the same CEO who runs Shop on TV, who left the former company as I did, and we started Shop on TV instead. So he was like, what are we going to do? No one can come to work. They could run pretty much everything on minimal staff, but and people lived locally, but presenters all came from afar. And so you've got to Google this, honestly, you've got to. He put in the car park things that are called bunker, B-U-N-K-A, bunker bins. They are small porta cabins that were about, 6 foot wide, maybe 7 feet deep and 7 feet high. They had a single bed on the right-hand side and a fridge. And on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, they had a sort of shelves and a little counter with a microwave and what have you, and a little itty-bitty bathroom at the back. There was only about 2 inches either side of the toilet. I couldn't get my fat bum on the thing. I had to go and use the toilets in the offices. And a little wee shower and a little sink. And that's where we lived during lockdown. And I used to start work at 10 o'clock at night, and I'd wake up about noon. So for 10 hours, I would sit in a box. And I went a bit strange, I'll be honest. I knew my director was going to say that. I could have said verbatim what he was going to literally just say in my ear, which is, I was strange before that. Yes, I know. And he knew me before that as well. But the point is that the very first night, I was freezing my kahunas off. And I did a show, my first ever Mulberry Silk show with Ray Kennedy. And all the stuff I've been telling you tonight, he was telling me. And I was like, really? I'm probably like you, many of you now anyway, like, really? Is that, no, can't be. So I said, all right. Afterwards, I said, you haven't got a spare duvet I can borrow, have you? So he lent me a single duvet, on the understanding I would eventually buy it. So I went back to my bunker bin at 3:01 a.m. and I stripped down to my boxers and I got into bed. And I wrapped myself, it was mine, I'll never forget this, I remember seeing the temperature, I checked it because I wanted to see how good this duvet really was. It was -7 degrees. I had no heating on at all inside a box with walls that were that thin. And within a couple of minutes, got up to temperature. And I'm completely wrapped in this thing. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get too hot. I'm going to overheat. I know it. I had a watch on at the time. I'm going to get too hot. I'm going to get too hot. And I never did. And the whole night, I slept under that duvet. Didn't take it off once. Never too hot at any time. And as I said the other day, and I was telling the crew tonight when I came in, I accidentally said, which everyone thought was very funny, that the other day during a show with Ray, that I do funny things under my duvet. And what I meant by that was, I still, to this day, when I'm sitting up in bed, when I woke up the other morning, well, morning's afternoon for me, and I'm sitting in bed and I'm completely cocooned in my Mulberry Silk Duvet. And I thought to myself, this is amazing. I'm still in the same position. My bedding's in the same position as it was when I fell asleep hours ago. But I had no concept of what the temperature was like outside because I didn't turn the heating. Had I turned the heating on at that point? I think it had come on a little bit. So I didn't know if it was cold in the room or if it was warm in the room. So I'm like, this is so cool. I am the perfect temperature under my Mulberry Silk Duvet, but I don't know what temperature it is outside of the duvet. So I took the duvet off. Within seconds, the chilling air started to freeze my leg. I was like, crikey, it's blooming freezing. Whoosh, duvet straight back on. And listen, if you think about it, if you go mountaineering, I mean, if you climb, oh, excuse me, my cushion's slipping. If you go up Everest or, K2 or something like that, what do they wear? They wear clothing that is lined with silk. The Arctic, people who worked in the Arctic and Antarctica, what is their clothing, outdoor clothing, lined with? Silk, because a very thin amount of it can give you massive amount of warming without having to carry bulk. But remember, you never get too hot. Let me show you my little cocoon again. So imagine that little Willy the worm is inside here, right? Willy the worm. And Willy the worm was a very happy silkworm. And then one day he said, but I want to be a moth. So Willy the worm cocooned himself in silk and started to change into a moth. Now, in China, which is where the majority of silk comes from, the temperature of a day can range from extremely hot and then at night extremely cold. They can have harsh winds, and that can be cold winds, it can be hot winds, it can pour with torrential rain, monsoon type weather, lashing at this cocoon. And inside is little Willy the worm. And there are also all kinds of other things. They want to eat Willy the worm for dinner. So this little thing here has got to protect Willy the worm. And if I try to pinch that, it ain't going anywhere. This has got a higher tensile strength than steel. Second only to spider's web, which is the strongest natural substance that there is known to man in terms of tensile strength. If you compared like for like, if you expanded this to the same size as a bit of steel, that would be stronger. But little Willy the worm doesn't have a special thermometer inside his body that makes him get warmer when it's cold outside and cooler when it gets hot outside. No. He has Mother Nature. And that's what this inside that cocoon, the temperature would remain almost the same and the same sufficiently so that Willy the worm would live. Right? And that's what a cocoon fibre does. That's what this is going to do for you. So if you're going through menopause, if you get night sweats, if you get really hot in bed, you can cover yourself, wrap yourself in a mulberry silk duvet, and I promise you, you should never overheat. Even if you're someone that is like a raging furnace. And I get this question a lot from people. My partner, she's very cold, at night, she has poor circulation, she gets very, very chilly. Whereas me, I'm like, I'm like a raging fire and I get really, 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 really hot. Can we both sleep under the same duvet? Yes. And this is why there's no tog rating with natural fibres like silk, because what temperature will it be inside your duvet? Well, the answer is very simply, it will be the ideal temperature for you, no matter who you are. And you could have two people side by side sleeping under the same duvet, and you could ask your partner, are you the right kind of temperature? Are you too hot? Are you too cold? And they go, no, 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 Goldilocks, baby, I'm just right. And then they could ask you, what about you? How are you? Are you the right temperature? Are you too hot? Are you too cold? And you go, no, 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 I'm in the Goldilocks club too. You could have 20 in a bed if the duvet was big enough, and every single person will get their own bespoke, perfect temperature. And no one really knows why that is. It's Mother Nature's secret. Silk was allegedly discovered about 5,000 years ago, and that is one of the properties of silk. It naturally temperature regulates. It dissipates excess heat, but it retains the right amount of heat for whatever the body is within it. And because it wicks away 30% of its weight in moisture, it also means that when you sweat into the mattress, into the duvet, or sweat into the pillow, the moisture is wicked away, so you don't feel clammy. And there's nothing worse, particularly if it's cold outside, and and no kind of atmosphere, and you're all alone more or less. See if anyone spotted that, Kieran. You don't want a clammy head or what have you. But anyway, So yeah, I survived -7 temperatures and the rest through lockdown under a single mulberry silk duvet, which I kept, and I still. And do you know I was going to photograph it before I left, because some people don't believe me, so I'm going to actually take pictures of all my bedding. And the single duvet sits folded. I folded it before I left London a few days ago, on our little ottoman in the front room, and of an evening when I'm watching television with either on my own or my son, and it gets cold, do I put the central heating on? No, because where I live, I don't have gas. So we have 2 electricity bills. One, electricity heating, the boiler for the heating and the hot water. And if I turn that on, then I might as well take a suitcase load of money, and throw it out the window, because it is ridiculously expensive. I mean, my son takes a shower, it's a fiver. It's absolutely crazy. So I never put the central heating on because I'm tight. But admittedly, he does shower for an hour, but then that's a different story. So what we do, my son and I, it's very cute really, is we'll sit in front of the telly and we'll put the single duvet across us, and that keeps us beautifully, perfectly toasty warm. He's the right temperature for him, I'm the right temperature for me. Wax on, wax off. No, but here's the thing, honestly, so what's the single duvet? £139, right? I've had my single duvet now since lockdown, so 5 years. I've probably saved... I'm trying to work out what my electricity bill is. I pay a retainer of like, I think it's £50 a month for my usage. And that's usually about right. When I turn the heating on, it usually goes up by about 20 to 30 pounds a month. So 20 to 30, do you want, Mr. Calculator, can you help me out here? 30 times 12 times 5, please. 30 times 12 times 5. So that's 30 pounds a month for 5 years. How much? He's obviously using a manual calculator. How much? 1,800. Oh, I've saved £1,800 over 5 years by using a Mulberry Silk Duvet instead of heating. Just saying. I mean, that money I'd rather spend on something else. You've got to check out, folks. We are massively, massively busy. Honestly, they are that good. And it don't matter what I say, because you've got free shipping, free postage and packing. £139 for the single, but that's the last £139 you'll ever have to spend on a single duvet, probably. £179 for the double. And if you've got a single bed and you want the hotel drape, get the double. King, £199. And again, if you want the hotel drape on a double bed, get the king. Super king is £219. If you want the hotel drape on a king size bed, get the super king. If you've got a super king size bed, then you've got to get the super king because we don't go any bigger. But there is sufficient drape anyway, so you're still going to get nice drape. But if you just want the extra drape, like here, this is a king size on a double bed. We've 24 of the singles left. That's all we've got. So please. Right, David says, here we go. Bought the double duvet about 4 months ago. No more sweating or waking up during the night. Absolutely brilliant. Best sleep ever, exclamation mark. Also bought 3 pillows and 3 pillowcases. Also single duvet for grandkids. Thank you, Rob, with an E. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Listen, you know, I could ask every single customer. We don't get returns on these. I've never heard Ray ever say, oh, yeah, we had loads of returns, ever. I don't think anyone ever returns these because, look, at the end of the day, they just are as good as I say they are. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that bloke's on telly, he's trying to, I don't know, he's trying to do something, he's trying to pull the wool over my eyes or something. I'm not. I really am not. I don't get commission. That's why we don't get commission as presenters, because it would invite the temptation to try to want to get you to buy at all costs, because that's how we make money. We don't believe in that. No one gets commission at Shop on TV. So I just get paid a fixed fee to come and present information to you. And I don't have to sit here with the enthusiasm and gumption and whatever else you want to call it that I am endeavouring to present to you here and now. I could be more informative, I could do my job, I could tick all the boxes and I could go home. But I know the pleasure and the benefits that I have received from owning Mulberry Silk. And I am on a bit of a mission to make sure that the nation sleeps better. Honestly. And I believe, people tell me, and I get these sorts of emails, and when people see me on the street and they come up and say, oh, I love my Mulberry Silk Duvet. My friends, my elderly mother and father, you know, I want to know that they're sleeping comfortably in their beds. You hear all these horror stories of elderly people during the winter who can't afford to put their heating on and get sick or even worse. I mean, crikey, a simple Mulberry Silk Duvet could solve all of that, you know what I mean? So I do genuinely care. Whether you believe that or not, whether you just think it's a load of old sales speak, you do you, babe, I can't change your mind. But all I would say is, if you do doubt me, you're doing it at your own expense, because if you are sleeping under a hollow fibre, synthetic fibre duvet or on a pillow, or if it's got any kind of feather, whether it's goose, duck, down, doesn't matter, any kind of feather. Even, I would say, even though wool is a natural fibre, there's a kind of the jury's out on wool, so I'm not going to touch that one. Is it as good as silk? No, definitely not, I don't think. But if you are sleeping on under any of those other types of duvet that are not silk, I assure you, as much as I can guarantee anything, I guarantee you have not had the best night's sleep you can have. And I think most people who sleep under Mulberry Silk for the first time duvets or on a pillow, it's such a dramatic difference when they suddenly go, oh my God, it's not just like 10% better than sleeping on synthetic. It's like 1,000% better. It's like a wake up moment. It's an epiphany. The lights suddenly come on and you're like, oh my God, what the heck was I thinking before? But you don't know what you don't know. So it ain't your fault, but now you've got a solution. So you either take a solution that's better for you, improves your third of your life that you're asleep, that then informs the quality of your life in the other 2/3 of that you're awake, and now you've got options now. Now you've got a choice. You can either choose to do something positive for yourself and change your life for the better, or not, for whatever reason. And I don't judge, I don't care, you do you. But I'm trying to just give you the ability to help yourself, because that's what I did for me. And all right, yes, we Shop on TV are the facilitators of that, but that's where it stops, you know what I mean? Carol, hey Carol, how are you? She says, hey Rob, got my new duvet on Thursday and I'm already feeling the benefit, exclamation mark, in terms of sleep quality after only 2 nights. No fidgeting, no duvet on, duvet off due to overheating, and no fighting with the hubby for my share of the duvet, as he always feels cold. I've watched the Mulberry Silk shows for a while now, and so glad I took the plunge. Just bought 2 pillows and looking forward to trying them. Thank you, Carol, and you're going to love the pillows just as much, believe me. Stuart says, hi, I just wanted to say I took the risk and bought one of these king-size duvets, and trust me, it's the best sleep I have ever had. I really didn't think it was going to be as good as it is. It's unreal. Thanks again, Shop on TV, or I would never have purchased this. Thank you, Stuart. And you know, you're the perfect sort of test subject, really, because I like people to be sceptical, because the more sceptical you are, the more it exceeds your expectations when the reality becomes clear, right? So I'm so glad you've had that experience. It's a common experience with everyone who tries these duvets. Like I said, this is the most boring product with the most incredible benefits, you know what I mean? And it's a duvet and a pillow, for crying out loud. I never thought, you know, given the stage I'm at in my career, that I'd be sitting on television waxing lyrical solo at 2-something in the morning, about 2:24, about a blooming duvet and a pillow. But they're that good. And I'll happily do it. I'd actually sit here for free. Actually, I shouldn't say that because the CEO might be watching, and he'd take me up on it. But I would, honestly, I would happily sit here and share this information with you for free. And the postage and packing is free. Now's the time to get it, while it costs you nothing. If you are not happy, you've got an unconditional money-back guarantee. If everything I've said is rubbish, you get in touch with RK Sales. Details are on the tag, on the duvet, the pillow, everything else, and they will give you your money back. No questions asked, no matter what the reason. And that, we'll call it 30 days. They don't actually stipulate an exact time, because really, if you're ever unhappy with your Mulberry Silk bedding, they'll take care of you. They just will. That's the kind of company they are. However, there is a 10-year warranty on the duvet, there's a 2-year warranty on the pillows, and a 5-year warranty on the pillowcases, which I'm about to show you in a minute. Alberto, how are you? Says, do you recommend the pillow and duvet together as a purchase? And could you tell us more about Mulberry Silk? I've never heard of such a material, but I'm open to trying something new. Big fan. Thank you very much. Alberto, absolutely. So, look, personally, yes. I'm trying to think of a suitable analogy. To have the duvet and not the pillow, or the pillow and not the duvet, you want the benefits of Mulberry Silk on every touch point in your bed, ideally. So it's like if you're cold, just putting a heater on your head and not the rest of your body, or putting a hat on and no clothes. Does that make sense? If you're cold, you'd put warm clothing on your whole body, wouldn't you, kind of thing. So if you can afford it, and if you're not sure, and if you be sceptical, by all means, try the pillow first. Get a pillow, cost you 40 quid. Then once because people just go, oh my God, this is just, I can't believe this pillow. And then, so then they try the duvet afterwards. And by the way, you can spread the cost with PayPal Pay in 3. And incidentally, it is free postage and packing, as I said, but also you can spend with the approval for PayPal Pay in 3, you can spend anything from £30 to £2,000. So you could actually get all your bedding in one go if you want to spread the cost interest free as well. So I will continue to tell you more about silk and Mulberry Silk in a moment. I'll start the story again if you like, so stay tuned. Emmett, hi Emmett, says, hi Rob, can you shout out for me and my wife Carla? Emmett, thank you for watching, and Carla, hello, thank you for watching as well. They've become parents for the first time to a beautiful little boy. Oh my gosh, congratulations, Emmett. Do you know what? Becoming a dad was the best thing I ever did. The one true thing I can say I'm proudest of in my life is my son. And I always wanted to be a dad, and it has not disappointed. He's 22 now. I don't know where the time goes. But congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful... I'd love to know your son's name. I'll give him a shout out as well if you like. And then last email for now. Keep them coming if you want. William says, hi, Roblock with an E. Thinking of buying some bedding for the missus. The only problem is she's already a loud snorer, so I'm worried this could make it worse. We've had our current pillows for months and they've completely flattened. They weren't, well, that will happen. If he says they weren't silk though, that's the trouble. Hollow fibre, as you sweat into it, it hardens and flattens. These will never flatten. You will never, this pillow, for as long as you own it, will never flatten. It can't. So, yeah, by all means, get these. Great to see you back on the telly. As anyone said, you look a bit like Ricky Gervais. Well, admittedly, William, only the entire nation, frequently for many years. So, yes. So, yeah, absolutely. Now, as far as snoring is concerned, these are not a snoring cure. What I found is and this is because I actually have a touch of sleep apnea, which is going away more and more as I slim down. So I have I've got two pillows. So I have one that I put. You see the green one at the back of the bed. See how that's on a slight incline. So then you could put another one just on top of it, so they sort of stack, one on top of the other. And I lean, so I'm almost lying down, but I'm at a slight incline, and I don't snore. If I lie flat, forget it. The whole neighbourhood's knocking on the door with pitchforks. So you might want to try that. Maybe your missus will try that. She'll still sleep really, really well, especially if cocooned with a Mulberry Silk Duvet. But I'm not a sleep expert. Although I saw a product recently that helps to stop people snoring. That is essentially like a type of pillow that keeps you in a slightly inclined or at a slightly inclined angle. So give it a try. It might work. Now I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned these ages ago. Please check out your baskets. You've got to get the pillows. The pillows we're running out of pillows, and the duvets. Look, whatever your budget will allow, get what you can afford, and start here and just build. A lot of people just come back as they can afford. The reason oftentimes people will buy a £20 pack of pillows, which you can't return as soon as you open them. You know they're rubbish. You can't take them back because the shops they're not allowed to take them back. You can't give them to charity because the charities aren't allowed to take them. I think those cheap packs of pillows and those cheap duvets, £20, £30 duvets, are just a way of extracting money from you. Because once you've opened them, you cannot return them. 2-year guarantee on the pillow, 10-year guarantee on the duvet, 5-year guarantee on the pillowcase, and you can return them all if you wish. If you're not happy, try them. If you don't love them, you will get your money back. This is sage, and then we've got Arctic, and we've also got white. So Arctic is that beautiful blue colour, and the white is the one that looks white. Don't know how they came up with the name. Now, I'm going to do a little trick. Here we go. All right, OK, I got a pillowcase. OK, right. So the reason I did that is because it is, ladies and gentlemen, to quote Ross from Friends when referring to Rachel's 18-page letter, front and back. Do you know, you'll go and spend 40, 50 or more quid these days on a silk pillowcase, and it'll only have silk on one side. Well, what good is that? These are 100% pure AAA grade Mulberry Silk front and back, and they are beautiful. Now, not only that, they have the little customary gusset in them to help keep the pillow in place, but also, and this is the really clever bit, you can probably just see, you see how it's slightly matte inside? Hi, Matt. Now, the reason for that is because they are sprayed with a very, very clever technique and process, quite a difficult process actually. They're sprayed with cotton, and that cotton creates a coarser interior, and that's important because it helps keep the pillow in place, because silk is, well, it's smooth, right? You've probably heard people say that before, smooth as silk, but also you would presumably steam iron these and there would be no wrinkles, but when they're on a pillow, if there's nothing to hold the pillowcase in place because it's so slippery, essentially, then you can get, those kind of wrinkles and things can create impressions in your face, so you wake up looking even more wrinkly than when you went to bed. So that's one of the reasons that it's in there. But the other thing also, these are pure silk. They're absolutely pure silk. So if you want to do a little Google of silk, There are many, 13, I think, amino acids in silk. One of them is called sericin, which helps to eliminate moisture being leached out of your skin when you sleep, if it's a pillowcase. And same with your hair, and it can help reduce frizz, apparently. And there are all kinds of different benefits of silk that are supposedly anti-aging. In fact, Ray always talks about if you use a night cream and you sleep on inferior quality materials, they can leach the night cream out of your face. So you're literally wasting all that night cream you're putting on. If you then lie on your side, you're wasting it, or a lot of it, because it's all getting sucked out again. Whereas silk won't do that. It will help to actually help retain the moisture rather instead. Now, look, I always say we have never tested these pillowcases for any kind of claims in terms of beauty, anti-aging, skincare, wrinkles, hair care, etc., because it just would be impossible, well, or expensive anyway. However, what I can say is many people have done scientific studies of pure silk, 100% pure silk, and you can read about all of those benefits online. And all I'm saying, these are 100% pure silk. So as David Brent would go, 100% pure silk. Internet research, scientific research on silk. So yeah, they're brilliant, and they're so luxurious. They really are gorgeous. Please do check out, ladies and gentlemen, particularly if you want to get your pillows, because they're racing out the door. Free postage and packing, your opportunity. Have we got any more emails there? Oh yeah, I want to talk. We'll go back to the pillow. And by the way, okay, let me just remind you, all of the Mulberry Silk products are covered by the Allergy UK certificate, which is the seal of approval for effectiveness against live dust mites. And that means that, because basically silk is a very arid or dry environment for dust mites. It's like, I always use the analogy of the Sahara Desert. People might venture into the Sahara Desert on a camel here and there, maybe even pitch a tent and have some lunch. But they don't live there, because you can't live in the Sahara Desert. It is just not conducive to life. And the same is true for silk and dust mites. So if you want duvets and pillows that are free from dust mites, apart from the occasional straggler who will wander in, tourists as we call them, they might venture in for the day, but they will shortly leave, or leave shortly after. This is the bedding for you. If you hold up a regular pillow like this, that it probably, if it's a synthetic filled pillow or a feather pillow, probably won't stand, it won't have that kind of support anyway. And it's a medium firm support, by the way. But also, if it droops at the sides, before you go to bed, or if you want to do it now before, you might want to check your pillow. If you've got a hollow fibre pillow or anything with feather in it, and it droops down at the sides, almost like a U, and you've had it for a while, a few months, I'm sorry to say, but the extra weight that's causing it to droop will be dust mites, and millions probably of dust mites, and their droppings, their poo-poo, and what's passed through their bodies, and also the dead bodies of the dust mites that came before them. And again, dust mites are harmless to us. Even the dead ones are. But it's the poo that is the allergen. When breathed in, can be an irritant to the breathing tubes. So, and you can't really wash feather or hollow fibre pillows. They clump up. And anyway, once you sweat into a hollow fibre pillow or a hollow fibre duvet, that sweat, it's wet. That's the nature of sweat. It's wet, wet sweat. And then, because you're overheating and they're getting so really hot when you're under them or your head's on them, you've got heat and moisture combined. As I say, it's just a breeding ground for bacteria. So they smell, they degrade very quickly, so they will flatten and get hard. And, you know, have you ever taken a synthetic fibre or even a feather duvet to the dry cleaners? I never have in the years that I had them, and it can cost you 25, 30 pounds or more to have them dry cleaned. It could cost you more to get something like that dry cleaned than it would to buy it in the first place. And the thing is, people can spend hundreds of pounds on feather duvets. You could spend, pretty large amounts of money on synthetic duvets or pillows. And the fact is that it doesn't matter how expensive they are. If they are synthetic hollow fibre or any kind of feather filling, They're going to get too hot. They're going to fill with bacteria and moisture and sweat, and they are going to degrade. And they are never, ever, no matter what magic technology they've got marketing on the front, they are never going to allow you to sleep as well, I don't think, as Mulberry Silk will. So for the, who was it that was asking about more information about Mulberry Silk? Was it Emmett? So Emmett, Mulberry Silk is a very high grade silk. Oh, Alberto, excuse me. Oh, Emmett had the baby, that's right. So Alberto. So mulberry silk is called mulberry silk because the silkworms are fed on mulberry leaves. Now, this is in China. That's where the majority of the silk comes from. But again, the mulberry silk factory, the source of the silk, is the very highest quality in the nation. I mean, it really is exemplary in terms of honesty, integrity, and such. They won't, if there is a no supply of silk, they will not make the duvets. They won't make the bedding until the supply is available again. So anyway, so you've got three different colours of mulberry leaf. You have white, black, and red. If you feed a silkworm on red and black mulberry leaves, you get very high quality. It's just whatever ingredients are in the mulberry leaves. And they're seasonal, so they're not available all year round either, by the way. And then, of course, the lives of the worms is cyclical, so they're not always available to produce, you know, they cocoon at certain times of year. If you feed a a silkworm on white mulberry leaves, you get the purest, whitest, highest grade silk on the planet. I mean, literally, if you were a multi-billionaire and you wanted the finest everything, as you undoubtedly would, and you wanted the best silk money could buy, it would be AAA grade mulberry silk. There ain't no better. And that's what's in here. Now, whereas a lot of, and essentially, so these are the cocoons. This is an actual silkworm cocoon. So they're fed on, the worm is fed for about 40 days. They put them in large trays, about the size of the bed, actually. And they're fed exclusively on the white mulberry leaves. And then basically once the cocoons have been created, they are submersed. And yes, the worm doesn't make it. You know, a cow doesn't survive becoming mince beef. It's a similar kind of thing. If that puts you off, I understand. But essentially what floats off is the cocoon. It unravels in one complete, full and unbroken fibre. And several of those fibres are then wound together into a thread, and those threads are then placed into the duvet or the pillow or whatever. Now, there are thousands of these, thousands inside each duvet, and thousands, I think about 3,000 just in a pillow. And because they're unbroken lines, and each cocoon could be 1 to 2 miles long, unbroken. So you've got about 12 miles in a king-size duvet of silk. It's about, you know, sort of 10 to 12 strands, depending on the length varies a bit. And you've probably got about 8 or 9 miles inside your pillow. And it's the box cassettes that hold those unbroken strands in place. And they, that means they never clump. They can't move around. And these are all machine washable. Also, all of the Mulberry Silk products are machine washable. This duvet, there is a video that shows the packaging, and you'll see that the super king size is, if you imagine one half of a carry-on suitcase. I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm so sorry. If you look, have a look here. Right, you can see it here. So our director's found it. So that is a super king. If I can see the tick there, I think it is. That's as big as it is. Yes, these are thin, and you're going to think, this is so thin, is it going to keep me warm? You bet your bum it will. But that will go in the front of a 7.5 kilo washing machine, standard washing machine. And use your regular detergent, whether it's powder, whether it's liquid, whether it's a capsule, a gel, or whatever. And then you can use fabric softener also if you wish. You can also tumble dry them. Pillows will also wash. 30 degrees, same thing. I put 1 in at a time. You could get 2 in, but I tend to put 1 in. And I did mention, if they do get stained, they wash really well just with regular detergent. But you can't use the Vanish powders or the Oxy powders. They're too harsh for silk. But I don't know about other makes, but Vanish do make a gel that is safe. It says on the pack or the bottle it's safe for silk. So just find a whitening gel that is safe for silk, and I tell you what, dollop of that in the old wash, and they come up. It's weird. It's almost like a developing photograph, actually. When they come out, I'm like, oh, they didn't whiten as well as I'd hoped. But then as they dry, they get whiter, and then they end up being just magnificent white again. My pillows that are 5 years old, honestly, when I wash them, come out, they look and feel in every way, and they're, you know, as good as they were the day I bought them. That you'll never, ever be able to crush the pillow. It will never change shape. It will never go flat. It will never clump. This pillow now, honestly, I could come back 5 years from now, 10 years from now probably, this pillow would look exactly as it does right here. It is just superb. I've got some more emails. Shall we read the emails? Does that explain enough about Mulberry Silk, Alberto? I hope it does. Oran. Amazing. Emma, thank you, Emma. That's the name of their son, Oran. How wonderful. I love the way it's spelt as well. Amazing. Say it again. Oran. I don't know exactly what accent it would be pronounced with, but I love it. It's wonderful. And congratulations again. I'm very happy for you. Tina says, well, first of all, I say, hi, Tina. Tina says, hi, my name is Tina. That would make sense as you signed it as Tina. Tina from London. Hi, Tina from London. And you've been so lovely. Oh, thank you. What did I do? It's a lady telling me that I've been lovely. She clearly doesn't know me, as my director just said. Thanks, Kieran. I really enjoy watching you on TV. Well, thank you. I have trouble sleeping since my duvet isn't as good, but you've convinced me to buy. I love watching you. You have hopefully improved my life. Tina from London. I live in London too, occasionally. I promise you, honestly, I wouldn't sit here and say that I think that these will change your life if I didn't genuinely believe that these will change your life. If I haven't experienced that and met dozens and dozens and dozens and heard from hundreds of people over the years whose lives have been changed. So I'm very confident that your life will be changed for the better. The only trouble is you might sleep better and not stay awake long enough to watch me anymore. So I don't know how we're going to deal with that, but I'll see if I can delay the shipping, maybe. Thank you, Tina. Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. Hi, she says, loving the show. I've never heard of a silk duvet. Well, now you have. And I'm very intrigued as I'm suffering from night sweats. You won't be any more, I don't think. Thinking of buying the Mulberry Silk Duvet, but I like a heavy duvet. It looks so light. I'm not sure it'll be okay for me. What do you recommend? Sack of potatoes on top of the duvet? Look, here's the thing, right? The thing about silk is all of its properties are, I mean, this little thing here protects the silkworm from monsoons, extreme temperatures, high temperatures, extreme low temperatures, all manner of different sort of weather and predators and goodness what else. Tiny little thing. This duvet is not a heavy duvet, and you're going to get it, and everyone's going to say... There are two things that are true in life. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and if you know Doctor Who, every single person who has ever walked into the TARDIS, what do they say? It's bigger on the inside. Every single person who gets a Mulberry Silk Duvet for the first time says, oh, it's very thin. Will it keep me warm enough? And the answer is yeah. Because if you go skiing, a lot of people ski, in very cold temperatures, silk-lined, usually. Mountaineering, silk-lined. If you're a researcher in the Antarctic, silk-lined clothing when you're outside. Silk is a great insulator. It's an incredible insulator, but it's also a very low conductor of heat, which means that it keeps you very warm in the winter. Just perfect. Perfect for you, no matter who you are. If you run cold, if you run hot, it doesn't matter. Whatever your body temperature is, it doesn't adjust as such because it's not a mechanism, but its properties mean that you will reach the ideal temperature and no more. So in terms of being the right temperature, being comfortable, sleeping better, all of the properties that you need for a good night's sleep are here, but it doesn't have weight. So if the weight is what you need, Lizzie, I can't offer you weight. What I can say is it cocoons you. It's a lovely feeling. It's quite a unique feeling because normally to get the same kind of warmth, we have these big puffy duvets and they don't really cocoon you. This will wrap around you. All I can say is why don't you try it? And maybe it's not the weight that you need. Maybe it's the benefits of the duvet that you need that you've only become used to getting sort of close to with a heavier duvet. I don't know. But look, it's free P&P. You can get your money back. So if it doesn't work out for you, not a problem. Just contact RK Sales. Their details are on the tags. And you just get your money back. They'll give you your money back. It's entirely up to you because I'd hate to think that you'd miss out on all the properties and benefits of the duvet just because the weight is an issue. Or, well, the thing is, you could get a weighted blanket, but weighted blankets usually are made from synthetic products, and they would completely destroy the whole purpose of the Mulberry Silk Duvet in the first place. Lewis says, "Hi Rob, putting my trust in you. I just purchased pillows, pillowcases, mattress, pad, and duvet. Ooh, you got it all. I've not had a good night's sleep for months and suffer from fatigue during the day. Here's hoping Mulberry Silk is as good as I hope it is." Lewis, I have the same thing. I have to say, I have fatigue too because when I couldn't sleep well, especially with the hours I keep, it just drains you, doesn't it? It can ruin your life. And I'm very confident. In fact, Lewis, I'll tell you what, apart from the fact that it's free P&P and you will be able to get all your money back if these things don't work out for you, I promise you that I'd put my money where my mouth is and say, I'll bet you good money they will. Because I've never met anyone that this hasn't had the beneficial effects for. So if you email me if you have any issues, and not that you will, I'll give you the money back myself. But you won't need to. And I say that actually, I'm kind of being flippant really, because I know my money's safe, because I think you'll find, as others will too, that you're going to have a better night's sleep than you've ever had before. And I would not be surprised, I can't guarantee it, but I would not be surprised if your fatigue doesn't go away. This could be the cure that you're looking for. And I don't often say that I don't think I've ever said that about anything else, actually. It was for me, it has been for hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, or even, I don't know, millions of these are sold around the world. So let me know how you got on. I would be genuinely interested to find out. Chelsea, hi Rob. I'm very interested in Mulberry Silk. I work as a teacher and have every summer off. I often spend summer in Scotland. Love Scotland. I use a tent box to rest at night. Sleeping bags are great, but a little separate. I'd rather use a duvet. What do you think Mulberry Silk would be like in a tent box? I notice you've spoken about the temperature often. Well, Chelsea, I spent the whole of lockdown in a box with no heating. I've never taken these camping, but I think they'll be as good as any sleeping bag. In fact, if you've got a sleeping bag that's made out of synthetic fibre, I guarantee you the Mulberry Silk will hands down keep you warmer. As I say, they use these in the Arctic and mountaineering and skiing and all that sort of stuff. The silk's used in clothing, and that's not even the same grade necessarily of silk that we have in here. I've said for ages you could use these for camping. I don't know what the sort of lowest temperature. I've never tried them because we don't get extreme temperatures like -20 or 30 here. But it is a Canadian company, and in Canada they do get temperatures down sort of -20, -30 degrees Fahrenheit. Not even talking Celsius, we're talking Fahrenheit. And these duvets, that's where they originally came from. So I would be confident in saying that I think you'll find them a worthy alternative. And in fact, it depends whether you're sleeping with someone. A single, if it's just one of you maybe, is perfectly sufficient. Again, that's kept me warm during many winters for 5 years, or 5 winters, I suppose, generally. We only have one a year, don't we? Yeah, so give it a go. I'd be interested to hear, actually. Right, and then finally Dan says, "Hi, Rob Lock with an E. Dan from Oxford here again. No more gold this time. But I have a question about silk I might have missed. I like cold and my boyfriend likes warm. We leave a window open at night. Will it be suitable? Can it adjust? Can we return? Love the show. All the best." Dan, thank you, because I think we're almost at the end of the show. And that's a question that I should have actually answered ages ago. If you are somebody who sleeps with a partner and one of you likes the window open, even in winter, but I don't have a partner, so not for lack of trying. this is about the best thing you can buy, because, I mean, you could have the window wide open, and I've done it. I have done it. When it was starting to get cold, I would still have the window open, and it was too hot in the room, so I'd have the window open till it got, because I like it really nice and cold. But as soon as I'm under my duvet, doesn't matter if the window's wide open, 2-3 degrees outside, you are perfectly warm. And the fact is that whoever's sleeping next to you, whether they like it hot or cold, it doesn't matter. You will get the right temperature for you. Whether the window's open, the door's open, whether there's no roof on the house, you will get the perfect temperature for you, they will get the perfect temperature for them, even if they prefer a roof and like to have the windows closed. So absolutely, gosh darn yes. Perfect, I think. Yes, you can return if it's not suitable. Yes, you absolutely. Again, this is one of those ones where you don't. The unconditional money back guarantee is not actually even offered by Shop on TV, but by RK Sales, who are the exclusive distributors of the official Mulberry Silk manufacturing company products in the UK. Again, it's a Canadian company. Their info is on the top. Their website's on the top. You can contact them, speak to a live person. You'll have your proof of purchase from Shop on TV, of course. And if you want your money back, they will give you your money back without any argument, without any question, without any, oh, what about this or what about that, or why don't you try this or why don't you try that, or did you buy it on a day that ended in a Y? Oh, that means we can't refund it. Sorry, no, none of that junk or nonsense. If you don't want it anymore, whatever the reason, they will give you your money back. And remember, that's generally sort of. They don't specifically say what the time period is, because actually they'll always entertain any reasonable request, because they are a caring company. But we always say, as a guide, 30 days typically. But the pillows there, once you keep them, 2 years on the pillow, 10 years on the guarantee on the duvet, and 5 years on the pillowcases. But you'll know within a day, to be honest. You'll know within a day. Once you've slept on the pillow, under the duvet, it's such a different experience. I believe it transformed my life, and I've not spoken to anyone who's disagreed with that statement, that outcome, that result. So find out for yourself. Costs you nothing, because you get your money back. Simple. That's it. That's all the emails. So thank you, Dan. You get the last word. Here are the prices once again. Yeah, they're a bit more expensive than cheap rubbish. Well, what isn't? But these are not cheap rubbish. But also, they're a lot lower in price than what you normally expect to pay for luxury silk. A luxury silk duvet would normally, you'd be looking at £500 plus. But here, we've kept the prices lower than they were 20 years ago when these first, or 22 years ago when they first came on air. And that's because we deal directly with the Mulberry Silk manufacturing company and RK Sales. We are the exclusive television partner in the UK, and they are the exclusive distributor. And that's it and all about it. It's just the two of us. So the usual prices are what they charge on their website, and the prices they allow us to sell them for are much lower, as you can see. £139 for a single, but probably the last time you'll ever need to spend that £139 and buy another single duvet. Same for the double at £179, the king at £199, and the super king at £219. If you're middle-aged and buying one of these duvets now, it's probably the last. I honestly probably will outlive you. The only thing that might wear out eventually is not the silk, it will be the cotton. But that's only if you don't put a duvet cover on it. If you put a duvet cover on it, if you wash it and take care of it, then 30, 40 years. The Mulberry Silk Company estimate at least 35 years use out of a duvet, and the pillow potentially as well. I mean, it's ludicrous, isn't it? £40 for a pillow that could last. It could be the last pillow you need to buy as an adult. We've got queues on the phones now. I'm not surprised. Look, you don't have to believe me, but honestly, I am telling you the truth. I couldn't lie if I wanted to. And as Superman says, Lois, I never lie. I decided years ago, I was a bit of a tinker when I was a kid, and I had that sort of wake-up call, and I was like, you know what, I'm always, whenever possible, going to tell the truth. And actually, not just whenever possible, always, although sometimes it's, sometimes it's difficult to be 100% honest 100% of the time. But, you have to be economical with the truth occasionally. If it's a surprise or something like that, I feel so guilty when somebody says, am I having a surprise party? And I'm like, I'm such a bad liar now. But the point I'm trying to make is that you don't have to believe me, because this is an official partnership the shop on TV with ITV and STV. We are governed by Ofcom. We're governed by advertising standards, by ITV themselves. We broadcast on their Ofcom licence, actually. So, you know, this isn't just some... You can't just show up on ITV and STV, you know, and like, yeah, want to buy a duvet, eh? I mean, it's just not possible. Whereas the internet, there's no oversight on the internet at all. I could set up a website tonight saying, here's a duvet that cures cancer. And nothing, there's no governing body to stop me. You've got to be really careful. Obviously, there are reputable websites. Stick to the main ones. We know that. But you Google Mulberry Silk Duvets, you might see products masquerading as this, but you check and see if they have 100% pure, full-length fibre Mulberry Silk. Probably not. And then also, even if they say they do, have they? Because there are fakes out there, lots and lots of them, and they take cotton and polish it to make it look like silk. So you think you've got silk, but you haven't. Here, you know, you're getting from the finest manufacturer of silk in China, the finest quality silk that money can buy, through a Canadian company who have a bit of a reputation for honesty and integrity, right? And sold in the UK by a distributor that's been in business for 67 years. And on a broadcaster that's been in business for probably longer than that. I mean, yeah, it ticks all the boxes for me. So entirely up to you. You don't have to believe me just because I'm telling you the truth. Hopefully you'll believe me because the truth is going to really improve the quality of your life. But only if you check out. You've got to pay for it. I'm sorry. I can give you free P&P and I can give you the best prices in the land, but I can't give it to you for nothing. Sorry. You actually... I don't know. I keep doing that. There are no more emails. I do need you to actually check out. Go to your basket, click checkout, pay, and it will be on its way. And take advantage of that free P&P. Look, there is one more show next week, which Ray's going to be back on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and Charlie will be presenting. So they've just had a new container arrive, so they will be restocking. So I was just a sort of little afterthought show because we were on air at 1:27. So, but that's going to be a busy show, and that will be the last show that has the free P&P. So I tell you what, if you haven't made your mind up now, then come back Tuesday night, watch Ray, listen to what he has to say if you'd rather hear it from him, because he's the expert. I'm not. I've just worked with him for many years and parroting back a lot of what he's told me. But otherwise, if you just look, you've got 0 to lose and 100% to gain, and the thing you're going to gain is better sleep. Now, if you're watching on ITV1+1 or STV+1, there's still going to be an hour left to go, rather. Make sure you check out, please, and try Mulberry Silk and maybe change your life for the better. I'll see you next Thursday night. Good night.